I'm Chip Ian. I'm president of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, and we're going to call the meeting to order at 7:05 PM on February 21st of 2024. Terrence, playing the role of Adele, would you mind calling the roll, sir?
Yes, Burkhart. Here. Clemens.
Yeah.
Here.
Gassionis.
He is here somewhere.
Dimitri, would you say here?
I'm here. Sorry. Almond or Gar?
Oh, Gammon, here. Gammon.
Gammon. Okay, Gammon. Hardwick.
Here.
Larson.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lewis.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Peterburg. Here. Rittenberg.
Here.
Here. Gladden and Slaughter are absent.
Thanks so much. I'm going to jump into the president's comments quickly. We have a large agenda, so I'm going to try to go through this with alacrity. We have a couple of cool events that are starting. We've been talking about the need to have events which bring the community together. That community getting together will decide where we move. We've had our second Saturday event at the Zev Greenway. It happened 2 Saturdays ago in collaboration with the Tree People. We had 30 or so students, faculty, and parents from Campbell Hall who worked with Tree People on planting, cleaning up. The kids got a bit of a nature walk and some species ID. We walked from 10 to noon because apparently high school students don't work before 10. I objected to that. They were right. We got 2 hours worth of good work out of the kids. It was a really successful event in the eyes of Campbell Hall. Tree People was wild about it and wants to work with us even more intensely, and we're going to do that moving forward. Our next second Saturday will be March 9th, so that's cool. So that worked out very well. This Saturday, we have CERT training. We have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of disaster recovery gear that the neighborhood council keeps on site here. Radford gives us a special place over in an unobstructed part of the lot where, assumedly, in the event of a major disaster, we will have free reign and open space. We have radios, we have first aid kits, we have a lot of maps of the community that are broken out. The idea will be we will break into teams and fan out into the neighborhood connected by radios and help first responders identify which structures are compromised, where there could be injuries, and we will help be the early eyes for the first responders. We are not expected to actually do any medical or search and rescue work, but it's important. And that will be Saturday from 8 to 12:30. I'm going to send another email blast out. We have a number of people that have signed up for it, most of whom are not Studio City residents. So good news is that the event looks strong. Bad news is Studio City is not really represented, so we'll come back and do something more with that. I do want to make announcements that, as a reminder to those attending, during public comment, you may hear colorful language that some might find offensive. The SCNC has no ability to control or regulate the content of speech that is protected under the First Amendment. Board members are reminded not to cut off, interrupt, or otherwise engage with stakeholders during their allotted time. Dimitri, are you going to be the timekeeper again? I will do that. Stakeholders, please respect the timekeeper when you are told your time is up. And also, please remember that we are guests of Radford Studios here. It's important that we remain courteous and respectful to all Radford staff we may encounter during our time on the lot. We need to respect and comply with all the regulations on the lot. That's what I have there. I have a motion to move the March board meeting. No. There's a motion, and this is a question. The Valley Area Neighborhood Council has a meeting which conflicts next Wednesday, next March 20th, with our meeting. Is there any appetite to move the meeting from Wednesday to Thursday of Wednesday, the 20th of March to Thursday, the 21st of March to accommodate the Valley Area Neighborhood Council Consortium? Or would everyone prefer to keep it at the third Wednesday as we normally do?
Is it an option to move it one Wednesday away or no? So as to keep Wednesday, but do it a week later?
Let's take that up as an option. So the options are, first we'll go for keep it as it is, because that's what's in the bylaws. The second will be changing it, then we can discuss where we might change it. Could we have a show of hands for people that are adamantly opposed to moving it? It's supposed to be the third Wednesday.
Hold on, I think we need to I think we need to explain why it's an important meeting for us to attend.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I believe it's for the presidents and the vice presidents?
Yes.
Of the Valley Neighborhood Councils? Yes, sure. It's for the presidents and the vice presidents of the Valley Neighborhood Councils. I attended one meeting in August by Zoom as Scott's former president's representative. I think it's really important for us to attend, to join forces, to get to know some of the other people, the other neighborhood councils, because there's so many issues that unite us. Certainly, some of our interests are different, some of our interests are conflicting, but I think there's so many interests that unite us, and I just think it's a really important opportunity. So that's why we're suggesting, we're requesting this accommodation regardless of when we move the regular meeting. So that's the reason.
Hey, that was better than I did it.
Question, how many councils are part of the Valley Neighborhood Council?
8? Hold on a second.
No, the Valley Area Neighborhood Council?
It's like 40% of 99.
It's 33 members of the
Got it.
valley. It's, they call it bank. So that may be confusing Valley Area Neighborhood Council.
Yeah.
And could you answer the question, could we send a delegate that wasn't you or me? I don't see why we couldn't do that, right? We could send a representative, there's another board member.
We could, but, I mean, I'd like to attend. I think it's really important. I mean, and I wouldn't want to miss this meeting, our own meeting, but I think it's really important for us to attend. I suppose we could send, probably, Scott had me go. I was just on Zoom, so I don't know, one really cared, but, and we don't know where it's gonna be yet either.
No.
They said they would let us know, but I think the better question is there another Wednesday? Is there another Thursday or Tuesday that would work for everyone?
They used to have it here in Carla's Cafe.
It's actually very important. You get to meet all the other presidents, and there's things coming up probably that everybody should be in alliance with. Thank you.
I think the 28th is the women's leadership thing too, is that a Wednesday? Is
It
that
might be.
So that would be a little more
So we
difficult
could-
for some people.
27th is a Wednesday.
Yeah, 28th is Thursday.
Yeah.
It's a Thursday?
Yeah.
Okay, then disregard,
Okay, so you could actually do both.
yeah.
So we have 3 options. Keep it as it is, and we'll find another way to meet people. Send a delegate, or move the meeting. Is that all right?
I don't think you need to worry about the delegate at the moment.
Okay. So, anyone, can we see a show of hands for people that think we should figure something out and just keep the meeting the way it is, because that's how everyone has it planned? So who's in favor of keeping the meeting as is on the 20th?
I would if we can come up with an acceptable number of people to go and represent. It sounds like we're hearing it's an important issue.
Apparently, it's presidents and VPs only, so it might be one thing that we're either
Well, then,
you lead the meeting next month, or someone, or either Lori or I go, not both.
right.
Would
Then how would you guys feel about that? Sounds like Laura, you would still attend it.
I do, but I think Chip should go too. I really do.
How about Thursday?
Yeah,
Just wait till the next day.
Okay, so can we see a show of hands who could accommodate Thursday, the 21st? I know you have a problem with that.
I could, can we start at 7:30 or no?
Sure.
I think he can just arrive half an hour.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so show of hands for Thursday, the 21st? Okay, so that's the motion, so we'll make that change.
Yeah, we're gonna be on the Thursday the 20th.
Thursday, the 21st, and you'll arrive at 7:30.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we're on a roll. We're going to go now to item 3, public comments on non-agenda items within the board's jurisdiction. I have a number of comments, but many of these are tied to agenda items. Time is up already?
Wow.
So we said the 21st.
Tommy Tucker, are you speaking in regards to, oh, you're on 14 as well? 13, 14. There are no general comments in the comment card I have for non-agenda items. Seeing no hands, we're going to move to 4, which is announcements by government representatives.
Have it?
So did you and Denise want to arm wrestle to see who comes up first? Well, she's number 2, you're number 4, so probably 2 should go first. Hello Denise, thanks for joining us.
I'm Denise Shaw with Council President Paul Morgan's office. I only have a couple of items. I don't know if I mentioned last month that Campbell Hall is going to be painting the electrical boxes by their school. Okay. And we also are going to be working with another artist to do some of the Studio City boxes that are blank and would benefit from murals. So we're in the process of picking the ones in our district section of Studio City. Other exciting news is that we've been working with the Island community to pick out exercise equipment for South Weddington Park. This is funds from the Universal NBC monies from a long time ago. And we're finally going to.
Denise,
Yeah.
speak up.
Sorry,
You can't hear you.
sorry. That we are going to be we picked the exercise equipment for South Weddington Park. So we're hoping it's gonna be, ordered this week and maybe, fingers crossed, 8 weeks, we'll have it installed and a grand opening. And lastly, I do wanna announce that Department of Transportation is going to be opening their speed hump requests. It will be March 21st, 9:00 a.m. online. I don't know if any of you have ever tried to submit for speed humps, but it's one of those things that you gotta get on immediately. Closes out, they have a certain amount that a request will take per council district, and when it's done, and it goes pretty quick. But if you have any questions, let me know. I have the information, send you, Chip, to put on your website.
Yeah, we'd absolutely do that. Is there a form and information?
Yeah, there's a link.
Okay.
And let me see if I can get the graphics of their announcements and stuff. I think I have it on my email, but let me double check that I can send you those.
What's the date?
It's March 21st at 9 a.m. And this is the first time it's open since COVID. They haven't taken requests.
Barry, do you have a scroll of people waiting to?
I have people to let know, but I was gonna say it would be good to do an e-blast with the link to where you go to apply.
Right, so we don't have to actually carry the burden of
No,
handing
we
it
don't
off.
do it, the person that wants it does it,
Okay,
or they're blocked or whatever.
but we'd like to know who from the Studio City area requested them so we can follow progress on the requests.
Yeah, I could.
I mean, that seems to make
I don't
sense.
know if I can get the whole list of who requested it, but I'll eventually know who gets approved. One gets approved.
One gets approved.
One year.
One per
For
year.
council
Per
district.
council district.
That's it.
Yeah, a lot of them don't. I mean, they have to meet certain requirements. So not everyone that is submitted is appropriate. And then it takes a couple of years to move your way up the list. So it's not a fast process, but it's the beginning of a process.
Thank you for that half-full glass, we appreciate that.
Just so you know,
We have
Field
like
of
15
Booths, that
minutes.
thrills me, because I can't stand these speed humps. I think it's just the wrong way to go. I'm totally against them. So I'm happy with that one a year. I know that that is not the most popular, and I'm not a speed demon. I just think they bring you to a speed lower than what's even supposed to be on the street. And it impedes traffic. It absolutely impedes traffic. And if you have cars like a little low Porsche or something, they have to crawl over it. It completely impedes traffic. I
And
think they're terrible.
They're typically on streets where you need to slow down that traffic, and, they're quieter streets.
I think there's better
But
solutions.
I get that you don't like them, they're not.
So
for
I just
everyone.
wanted to give you a boost that.
Okay, well, there's not gonna be
Happy.
them everywhere. We did just recently put them in front of all elementary schools, and I think we've moved to some middle schools as well. That did that. So, and they did that citywide.
And so was that irrespective of the Lovejoy Council District 1 per, that was irrespective of the request?
Yeah, that was,
Okay.
for school safety,
Okay.
so that was separate.
And we also got them through the neighborhood traffic management plan south of Ventura,
Okay.
which didn't have anything to do with that, because we got them on Brightwood.
So that was a separate program.
Yeah,
And those are installed.
yes.
So I do have a fact sheet I can give you, but I'll email it to you.
Okay.
And does anyone have any questions?
Any questions from the stakeholders?
That was easy, Denise. Sydney, come on down.
Hi, everyone. Neelis from Councilmember Rahman's office. Denise hit my headline item, which is great, but I do have one other little bit of pump-related news. My office spearheaded installing some speed humps on Mulholland Drive. Those were installed over the past week or so, and we're very happy that those are there now. Because drag racing on Mulholland is not a major issue, so hopefully that's gonna address that. I also wanted to speak on a recently passed motion from my boss and Councilmember Padilla to create a citizens advisory committee to pursue creating a modernization proposal for the Van Nuys Airport specific plan. That'll focus on responding to the airport's financial needs, and it'll also address environmental impacts like noise, climate change, pollution, and possibly establishing a community benefit program for the surrounding area. I know that some of the stakeholders here have been concerned about airport operations, so if anyone's interested in participating in that, please reach out to me and I will find you some more information. Also, I wanted to touch on our storm response a little bit. There were some landslides in Studio City on Lockridge Road. My office immediately got in touch with the displaced residents and made sure that everyone had shelter and their basic needs met. That landslide came from state-owned land on Fragment Canyon. So my office worked with Cal OEM, Office of Emergency Management, to expedite placing K-rails to keep the roadway clear and to do some urgent work to stabilize the hillside. They dug some trenches and secured some tarps on the hills to make sure that water from this week's rain flowed away from Lockridge, and the tarps limit further saturation of the hillside. We also had several street tree emergencies, and we're very appreciative to the constituents who brought this to our attention, because Streets LA was able to take down one tree and secure another before they fell. There was a lot of debris flow onto Coldwater Canyon and Ventura Boulevard, also on Laurel Canyon and some residential streets. Streets LA has a significant backlog for dealing with those, but at this point, I think most of the mud buildup has been cleared. We also had our contract team from LA Conservation Corps out to clean catch basins to make sure that those are operating the way they should to prevent flooding. And again, I really appreciate everyone who reached out to me and let us know of sites that needed to be addressed. Last, there were several drainage issues that presented during the storms that need more engineering solutions to address them in the long term. And we are working with our infrastructure director, Mamet, and Streets LA and Bureau of Engineering to find some long-term solutions for those. Very last is we're very excited that we're sponsoring the upcoming movie night, and I can't wait to see many of you there. All right, thank you.
Drew, Sydney, hold on, Drew.
Sitting, what's that email to reach? Oh, great, perfect.
Yeah.
The speed hump from Mulholland.
They are all East Coral, so not West.
And Sydney, we'll get back to you because between the Transportation Committee, Drew and Lori's Burbank, and I hit all of their airports, we'll probably have some interest in participating in that Van Nuys issue as well.
Okay, great.
Thanks for that.
Any public comment for Sydney?
If we're doing a motion on it tonight.
We are.
Yeah. Supporting it.
Brandon.
Currently doing the graphics for Movies in the Park, and a couple of neighborhood councils, the council's district representatives have talked about the upcoming elections, there might be a conflict of interest if any promotions were put out by the neighborhood council with the council district the council person's logo on there. Should we wait until March 6th to put out any posters or any banners with Nippy Rottman's logo on it? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for that, Brandon. Any more public comment for CD4? Are there any other government representatives here? I have comments from Diana Rana from Friedman's office, who has been working diligently. She's been texting or calling me on almost a daily basis, telling me of potholes in the morning and telling me in the afternoon they were done. So she's been very busy with that, and I appreciate her effort. Savannah was not able to come here from Horvath's office, but I have a number of emergency links that are available to residents that have suffered damage as a result of the storms. There are a number of different places to go for help, everything from shelter to apparently compensation and aid in helping for the repairs. I will put these on the website under disaster recoveredness. I'll probably put it on public safety, Jeff. So there's some information that's there. I believe that's the end of our government representatives and no more public comment on that. Vice President's report. Laura, you're up. 5 minutes extendable by chair. We have a long agenda.
Yeah, I don't plan on saying much. Okay, so we haven't forgotten about Senate Bill 411 in connection with the possibility of having virtual meetings, hybrid meetings, in-person meetings. It's very, 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 very complicated. You should have received at least one email. The board members should have received at least one or two emails from Empower LA with a PowerPoint. So rather than talk about it much now, I suggest you go through those PowerPoints, and there seem to be a lot of unanswered questions. One of the weird components seems to be that even if it's a hybrid meeting, well, if it's a virtual meeting, I believe that someone has to be here. Is that correct?
There has to be one physical, if we decide to go all virtual, if we decide that the best way to get the most interaction with the meeting is to go 100% virtual. It's never 100% virtual because there are some stakeholders who don't have the ability to get on Zoom. Therefore, there needs to be a ADA accessible public facility where stakeholders can come in and watch the meeting on a screen that will be up there. There needs to be a board member, but not a quorum, present in that meeting. The scenario there could be that there's one board member sitting in a room with a bunch of stakeholders, and that doesn't seem like a tenable situation. Barry?
I just want to say, we are the poster child for successful in-person meetings. Why would we want to go back to something that communication-wise, just in my opinion, doesn't work? And we have more people attending our meetings in person than we did on Zoom. So I know our Dunn representative would like nothing better than to not come here. But I think they're promoting it for their own benefit, and I think we all need to just get on with our business and continue with what we're doing, because it's working well, and quit bringing it up at every meeting.
Well,
And they won't let it, Dunn doesn't want to let it die. They keep bringing it up.
well, we haven't actually had a vote, yes or no, and that's why it needs to keep
But
coming
you
up.
don't even have to vote.
We don't, but there are questions about what would the hybrid capability be, and that has been one of the questions moving forward. And that's one of the situations we're trying to figure out. In a hybrid meeting, what would the scenario be on that? So there are,
And
without
more
getting into the weeds on that, we're trying to get a clear answer on
More
that.
sophisticated meetings than this, like the PRB try to do it, and it's terrible.
Yeah. Lisa,
The worst experience I've ever had is being at the PRB.
that's saying something.
It is the most messed up way that they do it. And it's actually insulting, and the way that you're on the screen on the wall, you can't read anything that's presented to you. If you are in a hybrid, half the time, we are at least a half an hour late before we can even start the meeting, because the planning people are the ones that are supposed to be running. I mean, it would be like if he wasn't here, or if he wasn't here, nobody knows how to run the thing. So it's been horrible, and most of the time, the people can't call in either. And on our PRB meetings, up until next month, it won't be on there. If you call in and you can't get through, too bad. Well, that's illegal. So it's a pain. And they don't know what they're doing. And
Duly noted. Thank you.
I just want to say the committee meetings especially could easily be done Zoom, unless it has to be, someone has to physically be in a room for someone who wants to come there. Then that's problematic, but many times I've wanted to attend and couldn't make the time to get to, I could have done a Zoom, but I couldn't get to the committee meeting.
And that's one of the, and Lorenzo and I have been and Lori have been working on this, and that has been one of the scenarios that we, generally speaking, without having had any serious conversations about it, because that would be wrong, but the general feeling is that the board meetings in person are very valuable, but the committee meetings could actually work well in a hybrid scenario, particularly if there was going to be a guest. Because to have somebody come from West LA to sit for an hour and a half of a committee meeting that is not related to them, to do a 20-minute pitch and then drive home, that seems to be unrealistic. So we're trying to figure that out. It has not addressed it in the bills, but Lori's working on that. Lori's going to
And
fix it
it
all.
shouldn't be blanket, because my committee meetings would not work
Guys,
on Zoom.
Got it.
Lori wants to kibosh the
mine
whole
never
thing.
work.
Okay.
It's never.
Do you have anything else?
No.
Thank you, Lori. Moving on, after that is the secretary's report. I will be the secretary. We need to approve the minutes of the previous meetings for July, August, and October of '23. Could I see a show of hands or comments on July of '23? Everyone in favor of approving July of '23? I'm sure you've all studied them. July '23 is approved. August '23, show of hands for approving. Any questions on August '23? It was quite a meeting. October of '23, in the new administration, much, much better. That's all approved. Okay, so we're three there. January '24 was not attached. We'll have to wait until next month, Thursday, the 21st, for the January '24 meetings, and this will be there as well. Thank you, Adele.
What about December?
December was already done. Jeff?
Yeah, all of the CISs and RFAs have been distributed to council members and our staff, and the CISs have been uploaded for the month of December. the motions passed in December. I'm still waiting on input for the month of January. We did get jalapeno Pete's motion dealt with for the planning commission. And other than that, that's the update.
Thanks very much, Jeff. I keep looking and seeing Jeff in my inbox. I'm thinking, this is a pain, and I realize that he does a ton of work before he sends it there, so I appreciate all the work you do with that. Treasurer's report, Kim, you're up.
Yeah, and I apologies, I'm a little confused though that the motion wasn't here, Chip. I don't know if you saw my email.
Is it not behind that if you click on that?
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know if Jeff is gonna pull it up. Well, just, the motion is that the board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council approves the January monthly expenditure report. I need a second.
A second.
Second.
Who's that? Jerry? Okay, thank you.
Can we take
It
it?
does work.
Is it,
Yeah.
It does work, yeah.
That was in it.
but it didn't say the actual motion.
It didn't show the motion itself.
So the budget.
It
So
hasn't the
Yeah, I
information.
don't know how,
I think we gotta punt it till next
Do
next
it,
meeting.
since the motion actually isn't there. Sorry, that
I was
probably was
concerned
me.
about that, yeah. I didn't know if this was some new thing that,
Yeah, it's new. I made it up and it doesn't work, so we're gonna have to punt till next month.
We can't read the motion now.
yeah.
Yes, because it wasn't actually publicized. It wasn't publicly noticed.
All right. Then moving on.
Moving on.
Nothing else.
We are now going to move on to the election of new board members. We have an open seat. We have one open seat for a business representative. Reading from our bylaws, a business representative is a person who legally provides goods or services for compensation in Studio City and who maintains a valid City of Los Angeles tax registration certificate, otherwise known as a City of Los Angeles business license. As we discussed when we started to reconfigure the board in October, we literally had difficulty finding folks with this particular criteria. We were lucky enough to have Heather and Charlotte come forward, both of whom have their own City of LA business licenses, but we were at a loss. We're very fortunate in that we have two very strong candidates. I've spoken to both of them on the phone, and I've met with them. A few of the board members have actually gone out and met with Aaron Justice and Jenny Bornoff. We're left with they're both great. We're gonna draft them both and have them both work with us. The difference being, they will both have committee work that'll be very specific to where their businesses are located. We've talked about the fact that the business community is one of our constituencies. Reaching out to the business community is very important, and both of these candidates offer us a great way to do that. Only one is going to get a voting position, and we are hoping the person that doesn't win this charade doesn't feel badly, but we're going to keep you anyhow and put you to work. What I'd like to do is ask Jenny and Aaron to come up one at a time, introduce themselves to the board, and then as we have brief deliberations, just to make it not uncomfortable for anybody, I think we're gonna ask you guys to go wait outside, if that's okay. Jenny, alphabetically, Bornoff comes before Justice. Would you mind coming forward?
My life.
Well, we could do Aaron as opposed to Jenny, and he could go first. I mean,
Do you want me to sit?
sit, stand, take care of your foot. Jenny, welcome.
So I am not prepared with a speech because I didn't realize that that was part of the least speak up. Sorry. I did not prepare a speech, but I thought, I would just come in and give you a brief, I've spoken to some of you on the side, many of you. I thought I'd come in and just let you know who I am, introduce myself officially. My name's Jennifer Bornoff. I was raised here. I've lived here 40 years in Studio City. My children went to school in Studio City. I went to school in Studio City. My business has been on Tahunga for 35 years. I have owned it the last 15. I have worked with Denise, who's absolutely amazing, and I'm not really sure what you want to hear from me other than this is where I am from, this is who I am. I have every intention of continuing on with you all in any area that you need me. My only agenda is to participate in any way that I can and build our little valley as much as we can together. I don't have any agenda beyond that. I'm open to everything and excited to be here.
It's awesome.
I'm clearly not good at this yet, but that's a work in progress.
Well, none of us are. So is it public comment first or board comment? Public comment. Barry.
Can you tell us about your business?
I own a women's boutique. I specialize in comfort. On Tillenden next to a Roman Cafe. I specialize in comfort shoes. Originally it was all comfort shoes. A little bit of everything.
Thanks.
Any other public questions? We will now go to board questions. Kevin?
Jim, could you share with us a little bit about your experience in organizing some of the other shops and things for the festival that you did at the Home Goods?
Yes, I worked very closely with Denise last year. If it was not for her, it would never have happened. I have run for the last couple of years now our annual holiday block party. That involves getting the street shut down, getting all of our stores to participate. We open up the street to foot traffic for the first Saturday of December. It's a very family-oriented event, so it involves putting together any kind of entertainment that we can, food, and making sure that all the permits are in place.
I attended them. How did you select those vendors? What was some of your criteria?
I keep it as local as I can. So anybody that is a local vendor or a local artist, I'm very partial to local.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Oh, I have a question.
Charlotte?
So you said you wanted to build community, and obviously you have a business and you organize the fair and everything for your businesses in the area. What ideas do you have? Do you think would be a way for other parts of the community to come together?
The last meeting that I attended here, I heard a lot about the LA River events. I have a lot of ideas about that. And I thought it was great. A great concept would be possibly getting shuttles from one end of the LA River to the other with stops along the way, so all of the local businesses can participate, doing things in the park, holding it over a 2-day weekend. There were a lot of great ideas. We spoke about your Halloween events, and I really loved that concept, maybe involving more community, shutting down some streets and doing some more events like that. I think the more that we open our doors as business owners to the community and the more that we get involved, the easier it'll be over time to draw people back out and back into the community. I think our community suffered a lot when we were shut down, and it's going to take some building back up. And I think that by opening our doors, so to speak, and opening our community a bit, that's a really crucial way to start getting people more involved.
Anyone on this side?
I know your shop, I love your shop.
Thank you.
Jeff?
Have you attended any SCNC board meetings or committee meetings before tonight?
Last month. My dad was on the board years and years ago. My mom's best friend was on the board for 100 years. I'm very familiar with it. I have not attended meetings. I also had I had little kids who have now left the house, so my time has opened up tremendously.
Thanks.
You can relate to that. Any other questions for Jenny? Thanks very much, Tony. That's great. Aaron, come on down.
Hey, everyone. I know some of you, not all of you. Thanks for meeting with me, those who did. I'm Aaron Justice. I own Buds and Roses dispensary here in Studio City. We've been open since December 2006 on Ventura Boulevard in Studio City. I bought it in 2010. I've served on multiple boards of directors, mainly for advocacy groups related to cannabis and legislation. I've done it at the federal level, the state level, the local level, and I've served on a committee, Medical Marijuana Advisory Board for Studio City Neighborhood Council. About 10 years ago, we formed that, and it was a successful committee at the time. There was a council member looking to ban all dispensaries, and Studio City voted against that, which was nice. That council member was just sentenced to like 10 years in prison, Weezar, so didn't work out for him, I guess. But yeah, I just I'm at a new chapter in my life. I want to use my advocacy for community. I like the whole thing that Chip has been informing me about with tree people. I do some advocacy around conservation and land, just kind of dabbling in it now. But and like the last speaker, my youngest daughter's about to graduate high school, so I have more time, and I just want to get back involved with the local community. And I, we're not a destination place. There's dispensaries everywhere, so we're open most of the time, every day of the year. 13 hours a day, and we have over 100 customers a day that live in the area, and many that have been with us since I've been there for about 14 years. And so I think I have a good ear to the people here in this community, and I think it would be great to be on the board and be able to engage with them and bring up their concerns and get them involved. And I think our area also just needs attention for the way it looks. Like across the street, we're on Ventura, west of Coldwater there, right next door to La Payne. And I just think it needs to be cleaned up, and I know there's some ideas to plant and do some plantings there, to do them in the LA River behind us, which is right up our alley, because one thing that's unique about us, we have a cannabis nursery license, so we make and sell like baby cannabis plants that people cultivate at home, and we also make cannabis seeds, so we don't mind getting our hands dirty. Yeah, so it's fun. Oh, I just wanted to bring this. It's kind of like, but I'm just kind of proud of this. So I've had who regulates cannabis in Los Angeles is the LA DCR, Department of Cannabis Regulation. And I have had a bunch of them, like the director and her staff, along with Councilmember Rahman's staff, chief of staff in my shop, and educated them about kind of what's going on and the struggles we have and the good things, the good and the bad. And we recently received a certificate of recognition from the city of LA. And I don't know if any dispensary has received this before, but it was signed by Rahman. And if I could read it real quick, it says, so on behalf of the city of Los Angeles and the 4th District, we proudly recognize your 15 plus years of business in Studio City, both shaping the unique character of the neighborhood and creating community amongst its residents. The global COVID-19 pandemic presented immeasurable challenges for Los Angeles small business. We commend your resilience in navigating these difficulties and your thriving presence and service to all live, work, and visit Studio City. We thank you for your service and wish you the best for many years to come. And it was just an honor, because being a dispensary and all the negative stereotypes about that, but I feel that we've really tried to be a positive in the community, not a negative from the beginning, and it's nice that we were recognized for that.
Very cool. Public questions. Barry?
If I'm not mistaken, you are one of the few dispensaries that's always been legally permitted for Studio City, and God knows we've had more unpermitted than permitted ones that have gone before this neighborhood council over the years. And I know Lisa could give us an hour on that. But, yeah, I just thought everybody should know. We have a lot of dispensaries even today that are not permitted, but they're there. But this has always had the proper permits.
Lisa, not an hour.
I love your store. I know Aaron. I think you'd both be great, and whichever one of you isn't on the board, you can come on the land use committee. And exactly what Gary said, we had 19 places, 5 of them were legal. Aaron was the number one that we wanted to stay for sure. And I can tell you guys the other ones another time. Because they're still here.
Are there any other public comments? Sir?
I have one comment. How do you feel about getting rid of the ones that are more than the maximum? I think there's your zone, or your committees allows, or the city allows 8 and you have 14?
Yeah, it's a citywide thing, and, so basically, when they made the law, they said that only 9 could be in Studio City, but this happened in multiple districts. But if there were already more than that were licensed, they could stay. But if they leave, no one can come in. And so they have to go down to 9. Because they are licensed and those are people that have been here a long time, it's not up to Studio City though either. It's a citywide issue, I guess. So.
And do the unlicensed facilities operate under the same code of conduct and standards that you do?
Well, the 14 that he's mentioning are licensed. The rest, no, they can do whatever they want.
Are there unlicensed?
I'm sure there are. Yeah, probably. There's just no list of them.
Right.
But there's plenty, and there's a lot of delivery services that are illegal too, that are operating.
Nice.
No doubt.
Okay, we have a dilemma. I mean, we have 2 very solid candidates. Aaron and I have talked about, branding that section of Studio City where his store is. How do we actually incorporate that group? Because if you think about what's happened, particularly post-COVID, the retail development that's happened on the north side of Ventura, west of Coldwater, this side of Fulton or Long Ridge, depending upon which side of the boulevard you are on, is where our jurisdiction ends. We end at Long Ridge south of Ventura and Fulton north of Ventura. But that whole section of Studio City has always felt as if they were not connected. And with Aaron's work in any capacity, we're going to find a way to identify that. We were talking about that oak median across, Sydney has left, but Sydney and I were talking about that as the Oaks district of Studio City. And so there's a way to actually kind of put that together. Aaron and I have talked about a way to put that plan in place. And obviously, we're going to shamelessly rip off every idea that Jenny's ever had one way or another onto Hunger Village and try to adapt that to various holidays to reignite what happened. Many of us remember when there used to be a holiday parade in Studio City up and down Ventura Boulevard. We've lost a lot of the community with that. So we're going to have to figure out what to do. It's going to be a nominal formality for one of the 2 of you to be a board member. You're both going to be working with us. If I could ask you guys to leave, so we hopefully don't have more than just a couple of minutes of argument amongst ourselves.
Not yet, you haven't. the
Oh,
board
I'm
hasn't
sorry.
asked
I
questions.
didn't do that. Board questions. Richard, anybody? Thank you, Kim.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Where do you live
Calabasas.
and why this neighborhood council rather than Calabasas?
I pretty much spend a lot more time here. I'm always at the shop, and also there's just kind of less to do there. It's kind of a secluded city that it doesn't really have a lot of the same problems. For example, 10 years ago when I was on the committee, there was a lot of homelessness problems here, but now there are, and we get them in front of the store, and we've had to deal with that and call officers, and so I'm just, I think I could do a lot more good here than I could there, and it's kind of a whole different thing there. But I'd say because I'm more invested in Studio City.
Thank you.
Any other board questions?
Yeah, just a quick one. So I know you touched on it a little bit, but what are some other like initiatives or areas of interest that you have in the board and would like to participate in?
Yeah, I don't really know yet. I kind of have to dive in and see what's happening. But I think I do have just an interest in retail and where businesses are located and the homelessness thing. And I definitely take it, want to help work on. I love all the conservation ideas and kind of I just kind of have an interest in public policy. So as certain issues come up in working with council offices, I think 'cause I already have some connections there and in communicating with them that it could just be different. Like I was a licensed real estate agent back in Illinois before I moved here. And so it's things like that,
Great, thank you.
I'm not 100% sure yet, no.
Always good to have a fellow Illinois.
Oh, that's right.
Won't hold it against you. Richard?
Yeah, one thing, do you have any ideas or what have you implemented so as to discourage smash and grab on your block?
Well, there's not much we can do overnight, but for my particular dispensary, and I'd recommend this for really any business, there's this thing called Deep Sentinel, and they're cameras that I only pay $80 a month, and you can have live guards watch those cameras 24 hours a day if you want, but they watch it overnight. So when we've had people try to break in, and I get video of it, and it happens like often, or just homeless people we have a little cubby hole, they try to go in there, and the cameras are on it, and they tell them right away, hey, we're gonna call the police, this is private property. So that's what we do for the smash and grabs. But like, it has happened on our block. Now, what I can say though is during the day, we've done a lot, to protect our neighbors over the years. Like recently there was a homeless guy who walked by LaPaine and punched one of the customers. And so we had that on camera, we were able to give that to the police. But there used to be a bar restaurant on our street, Hyperion, and I know a new one's coming, I hope they open soon. But people would be inebriated walking up and down the street, and our security guard would help out our neighbors, like if there was a problem. Because even next door at Garden Temple, like they can't leave their door unlocked because of the people that would come in and scare them. So like they have our phone, so they keep their door locked, and then they buzz people in. And if they have a problem though, they have our security guards, our phone number and everything, our security guard will go over there. So just in general, and also I think I was telling Kevin and Charlotte that we've helped with 2 murders, vehicle murders, where there was one maybe 5 or 7 years ago at Coldwater in Ventura, where a white Range Rover killed someone, but they actually parked in front of our shop and switched drivers, and we had that camera footage. And then recently there was another one that happened over by Coldwater, and homicide detectives came and we gave them footage, and they found that the car came from up in the hills instead of they thought it was coming down Ventura. So in general, those kind of things can help the community be safer because we have so many regulations around safety, like with cameras and guards.
Have a lot of activity.
Yeah. But fortunately for us, I mean, I don't know if there would, but we've been, pretty safe. We actually keep our front door wide open all day.
Any other board questions?
Any board members to speak on behalf of either of the people who I think they're known to?
I only know from speaking to the 2 of them on the phone, and meeting them and checking out the various community references. I mean, it's one of those things where, I've universally heard good things about both of them. And the various government officials I've spoken to that have working relations with them have positive working relationships with both of them, from what I've seen. Anything else? Let's chat it over.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Jenny, we won't ask you to go too far. Yeah. Let's do it. We can't turn the camera. I mean, so we have two great candidates, right? Two strong businesses. People that have involvement in the community, which is what we were looking for. One lives in Studio City, one lives in Calabasas. Are there any other, in going through the checkbox? Barry?
I was just gonna say, keep in mind that a business rep does not have to live in Studio City.
Right.
And Calabasas is not in the city of LA and does not have neighborhood councils. So even if he wanted to participate in one where he lives, there isn't one there.
They have an elected council though. Their own.
That's different.
So Aaron's community involvement has been directly related to his business. He's done it very effectively at every level, very professionally. I guess we should have asked Aaron what he'd done to support his kids in their school communities. We didn't ask that question. We certainly know that the other candidate had done stuff involved with their schools, but we didn't ask him.
So we're voting on one of the two to be on the board.
One of the two to be on the board and enjoy this parliamentary procedure with you. The two of them are still going to work with us very actively in either committee. And, there is likely to be attrition on the board over the course of the next period of time. And there would be a way, depending upon what category that new spot became, to move things around and accommodate both of them in the next 3 to 6 months. Is that fair to say?
Well, I hope not. I hope there's no attrition.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to put that out there, but
Well, we know that neither one of them can be the youth seat, so you're safe, right? So we're fine now.
I'll vote for Aaron to be on the board.
we haven't voted yet.
Yeah, so are there any other questions, any other topics, anything thinking about?
Well, and I'll explain why I say that. I think has a remarkable depth already in dealing with government issues, government regulations, the complexity of his business and the scale of his business is a lot more involved in every aspect than just running a very simple retail. And I think that would help more this board, somebody who's already used to navigating a lot of really, really complex issues like that. So if I had to pick one of the two, that would be the criteria why.
I think
I'm
they
not saying
both
do I
would be
have to-
great. I just think the next step is, which committee the other one will be on.
Say that again?
They both will be great. I just think that the next question is which committee the other one will be on. That's about it, from my perspective.
Who here met with the two
It was just
candidates
us
in person? Only you and I?
Only you and I, yeah.
I reached out to both, but I only heard back from one, and I spoke to them. And that was by Aaron. But I made an effort to reach out to both. Just to pick up on what Drew was saying, I think that's a fair point. I also think there's something to be said for her involvement in terms of arranging a community-based event too, which I think that kind of planning also would value for, our council and the community as well. So I'm not advocating for either per se, but just put that out there.
Jeff?
Yeah, and I think Jenny has a lot of long-standing ties to the community, and she actually lives here and her store's here, so that's very important to making community connections.
And I'll just, kind of piggyback on that. When I did speak with her in person, that was one thing that came through, was that she's been here for a number of years. She has deep ties.
she's seen both the good and bad of Studio City, having experienced some issues with her shop being broken into. So I think that, she's someone that could have a very representative perspective to share with fellow board members.
So when I met with her, and we both met, she was talking about ideas about building community and other events and things like that. Aaron seems to be more insular, just in terms of what he wants to do. It tends to be around his business rather than around the community. So I think that's very important, that Jenny is very focused on what can I do for the community.
Richard?
Yeah, it seemed to me that she has a more present thing in the village than he has along where he's located at when it comes to people and rough people and all that kind of stuff.
Any other questions? Should we just go for a vote?
It is a tough choice.
Well, we can have our cake and eat it too. Right? I mean, I really see it that way, is that, either way, they're both gonna do what I would like to see them do, which I think uses their strength. I mean, I think that Aaron will do a great job of creating an identity, honestly, creating a Tahunga Village-like feel for that area over on that part of Studio City. Because I know going back to when Barry and I were on beautification together, that group of people have reached out. They're not part of the bid, just the bid and the Coldwater, right? So they're sort of an unincorporated part of Studio City that want to feel like they're more part of it. And they feel the same pressures that the village does right here of Sportsman's Landing. All right, so that's sucking a lot of the retail into that area away from what they could potentially see as well. So it's important to have that done, and I do think Clone, at the same time, promoting more what happens at Tahunga Village. Like, we all talked about the fact that was happening and that was cool, but we were frankly still back on our heels when we reconstituted in December. I believe we actually sat there and put on our calendar that Tahunga Village holiday event was going on, but I don't know how much traffic that particular panel on our calendar got, right? I'd like to get more behind that. So we'll be able to take and clone those ideas, whether Jenny's on the board or not. So either way, we have our cake and eat it too. Barry?
I just was gonna say, I've seen candidates over the years before the board, and the ones that say they're gonna still participate when they don't win a seat, they don't. They say they are, and I think of these two, the one that needs to be put to the test more is Aaron, for if he's really going to participate, if he's not on the board. And if he does, then he's your candidate for the next open seat, like Chip was saying. But I think for Jenny, I don't have any doubt that she'll participate, whether she's on it or not.
Well, what are you implying with that?
I'm just saying, I have more of the two, I have more doubts that he will participate if he's not on the board.
But then is the suggestion then therefore you think
I know what you're saying, but I think he needs to be put to the test more so than she does, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To not be on the board and put your money where your mouth is.
That's what
Yes.
I wasn't sure if you were suggesting therefore he needs to be put on the board.
Right. No, totally got it.
I can see how you can make it.
No.
But
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so are we prepared to vote? So basically, so Terrence, do you keep so we have Jenny and we have Aaron, and we'll just take a vote.
Say which one is
Yeah.
Burkhart? Jenny. Clemens.
Aaron,
Cutler.
Jenny.
Gassionis.
Jenny.
Gottman.
Yeah, Aaron.
Aaron. Hardwick.
Jenny.
Okay. Larson.
Jenny.
Lee.
Aaron.
Aaron?
Ian,
Jenny.
Niederberg,
Aaron. Aaron.
Aaron, Rittenberg,
Jenny.
and Shaw.
Here.
Eight for Jenny and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Aaron.
Okay.
Pretty close.
Good and then.
Yeah.
Okay, so our plan is to have our cake and eat it too. So we're going to proceed with the Oaks. We're going to proceed with taking the holiday fair and cloning that to other holidays. I think Charlotte's moving towards Halloween. But in this particular case, Jenny will be on the board with the parliamentary vote. You are a board member in waiting, and we'll continue to get everything done. And we do think there will be a relatively quick turnaround.
Okay.
Did
Okay?
you share that it was pretty close,
Okay,
the numbers?
great.
So just so we both feel good.
okay.
It was tough here, so,
All right.
I felt like we were on CHOP there for a moment. It was 6.
yeah.
Thank you very much for for giving us the patience on that. Okay, now I'm gonna move and try to get through the other stuff quickly. Tony, would you come in and present for Adele?
Terrence has a question?
I'm sorry, Terrence.
Aren't you gonna do the oath? It's on the board now.
Yes, I don't have the oath, actually. Do you have the oath handy?
No, I don't.
That's,
Do we have any reps here? Any other reps?
No.
Be sure.
Yes,
Okay.
I have asked that. Jeff, can you find the oath?
Are there any other government reps here tonight? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought I asked that before I did.
She snuck in late.
Okay, would you like to come up and address the board? Well, please do. Yeah, well, and wherever you're comfortable. So would that be on the Empower website? Thank you. Yeah, please do.
Good evening, my name is Diane Rana, I'm a field rep for Assemblymember Laura Friedman. The legislature is back in session. Sorry for telling you guys all. And the bill introduction deadline was this past Friday, so it's a bill I did not introduce at this point. That ship has sailed. I did want to bring to your attention, you may have received an email, if we have your email address in our computer system, the Assembly members partnered with Assemblymember Chris Holden and EDD to do an informational webinar on unemployment insurance. The office, of course, saw a lot of EDD cases during COVID. It still continues to be our #1 issue area, or the reason we're contacted by constituents. And I know that there have been layoffs at JPL, there continues to be layoffs on the west side in tech, and just in general. So if you know anybody who needs help with unemployment insurance, I would encourage them to either contact our office and or join the webinar. It's this Tuesday, 4:30 to 5:30. And again, we will have EDD personnel online to help answer questions and just talk about how the system works. The other thing I want to throw out there is on Friday, April 19th, our office is partnered with Caltrans to clean up an on-ramp for Earth Day. If anyone's interested in volunteering to join the office and pick up trash, we'd love to have you out there. I'll bring it up again, and I'll also share information with neighborhood council once we know what the exact location is. I think it might be Burbank, but I'm not sure. And if you need help with any state agency, Franchise Tax Board, DMV, I just had somebody contact me about alcohol beverage control. Whatever it might be, if you need help dealing with the state agency, please don't hesitate to contact our office. We're here to help you. Oh, and speaking of Caltrans and trash pickup, I know that the Laurel Canyon on-ramp was bad, and I heard that Chip mentioned that already, that Caltrans is out there doing the repairs. I just heard about a Moore Park on-ramp pothole. If you can go to the Caltrans customer service request website and put in the pin drop the exact location where something needs to be fixed, or if there's a homeless encampment, overgrowth, any of that, put it in with Caltrans, and if you would forward it to me or to the assembly member's email, I have a monthly meeting, I follow up with Caltrans. I also have contacts for the kind of more urgent things that I say, hey, can you please look at this sooner rather than later? So Diane Rana, my email address is diane.rana@asn.ca.gov. You're welcome to call the office anytime. It's 818-558-3043. I do my best to get back to you within a day.
Can you spell your email?
Yes, it's Diane, D-I-A-N-E, .Rana, R-A-N-A, @ASM, like Apple Sam Mary, .ca.gov.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Diane, seriously, I know I'm part of your to-do list, but I love getting there's a pothole, and by the afternoon, I can tell you're crossing it off, like, wow, this person is working hard. So thank you for all of that.
They did repair it in January, or kind of do a fix on it, but I think it got washed away, so I hope what they went out there and did yesterday stays. But I don't always take the Laurel Canyon on-ramp. I live right on, I kind of drive the service streets if I can. So if you see it, please let me know. And we'll.
And I have another question too, where you talked about doing a pin drop on the Caltrans site. If a stakeholder of ours finds a homeless encampment, they aren't gonna know because we're not clear as to whose jurisdiction. I mean, so they would need to know to go to the Caltrans site, not go to the CD4 map
Yes.
to find that.
If you go to the Caltrans website, it will tell you when you're trying to drop the pin on, that's not our jurisdiction. But you can try to put it in my 311. I know that there's, I call it jurisdictional soup, like along Riverside, 170, 134, 101, and it switches. Anyways, there's the county has the watch, there's the city streets, there's Caltrans property. So I know it's confusing. If you're not sure, I would say just try to put it in on the Caltrans website and just do your best to try to get it on Caltrans.
It's still District 7, right?
Yes, it is. Does that make sense what I was saying?
It does, and I also don't know if I'm creating a problem that doesn't currently exist. The fact that we're confused about jurisdiction, the stakeholders may not be, but I do think there's times when things fall between the cracks. But thanks for everything you're doing. Barry?
So I got the email that you're talking about today, and I want to say, I think it may have been better if this seminar had been scheduled after the primary in a couple weeks, because I got that today, and the first thing I thought was, well, Laura Friedman's running for Adam Schiff's seat that he's vacating in Congress, and Senator Holden is running for Catherine Barger's seat. And it just seemed a little fishy to me, and I think if you held that email even until March 6th, it would have been a lot better.
I hear what you're saying. We talked about that in the office. We had been contacted. The reason we chose to do this event and talk to the assembly member about it was because of the notification we had from JPL about laying off 500 people. And then, I don't know if you're familiar with the warn notices that employers have to post, and we were looking at that. And actually, my husband's company had 1,200 people laid off in Woodland Hills. So we just thought it's important and it's time. But I completely hear what you're saying, and I'll channel that back to you.
Lisa?
What's the line between Barger and you guys along either the wash, the Donga Wash, or the River Channel?
The LA County is just primarily the wash, is my understanding.
I mean, along it. I know what it is.
It's
federal
different
government,
districts.
It's the wash, and then it's the city.
Chief Assembly, Barger is county supervisor, they're different districts.
Yeah.
asking the, okay. So do you know, where's your line, is there a line for your assembly district there?
No,
Okay,
boundary goes up to the 405 and up to Glendale. somewhere.
Which is why you see Adam Summer signs all over the place.
illegally placed, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the back, sir.
Is the board associated with Caltrans?
No, I'm with the Assembly Member's office, but we do talk to Caltrans a lot because of the freeways that are in our district.
The issue that I was speaking with that gentleman earlier is that Caltrans is public property. And so we don't need political blights when people put up campaign posters on those fences. Is that correct? We don't need that political blight.
Correct, I don't believe there's.
So we can take them down without,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. It's gonna make a good, lead, over at, Nick, what's his face again, running against the second district? Firefighters for, the old boy system, for some Nick prosecutor who would be he's supposed to, he's shame on you, when it's shame on him. So, all right, Saturday, I'll be missing, and I'll, send it to, the nice Indian lady, his competition. Right. Well, okay.
I guess that's it.
All right, don't hesitate to give me a call.
Oh, Jeff, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Do you have an update about, I know there was a proposal to build a sturdy fence along Whitson and Riverside. I think I spoke to you several months ago about an update for that sturdy fence because there's a chain link fence and the homeless are cutting the fence and getting in there. I've seen LAFD responding to fires and other emergencies. So I'm just wondering if you have an update for all of us about what the status is of building that sturdy fence, so there's less access for people who really don't belong
So
there.
that's along Caltrans property, right?
Correct.
Yes. Every time I beg and plead for wrought iron fence, they say no. I've also asked about another type of fencing, I think it's called welded fencing, and they're kind of like, that's not gonna happen. They're really stuck with what they call their standard fencing. I think Chip might have mentioned, or Mr. Meehan may have mentioned that funding, do you think, I've been trying to figure out where that.
Well, and I sent you pictures of the one standard fence, and that one piece of chain link fence is easily 8 or 10 different sections that have been repaired over the course of time. You could tell where they've just gone through it with bolt cutters. We actually sat there and I'd taken Diane a bunch of pictures that she was thrilled to see of that area. Would it be helpful if we actually had sort of a formal request from the board?
It wouldn't hurt. I know that Caltrans really, every time I bring it up, they dig in their heels. But that being said, I think it's good to hear from another source.
Would just a letter be strong enough?
I think that would be a good place for me to
What,
start.
well, I'll start with that, Jeff, and I'll
what they're
include the photos.
Is funding, and they want to know who's going to maintain it if there's an issue with it, because they don't have welders on the staff. I know, standard chain link fencing.
I think you're, before Assemblywoman Friedman took over this district, I forget who the assembly person was.
Adrian Nazarian?
Yes, I think his office told me that there was something in the works. So I don't know if it got lost in the transition or something, but I was led to believe that there was some funding or something, some project there.
You know, I'll ask him.
Okay.
I do see him out and about. I know that he did get money for the Toluca Lake community, $2 million. And they're just now getting that money. I'll ask him.
I appreciate that, thanks.
Does the Army Corps of Engineers maintain any primary responsibility for any part of the Washington area?
Oh, okay, yes, I believe they do. If you're gonna ask me which parts, I have no idea.
It's at the bottom of the channel.
In your district?
Oh, in our district, that is jurisdictional suit there. I'm
It's
not
just
entirely
the
sure.
channel
It's in the
itself.
channel, it's in
It's
this
just
book.
inside of it? Okay.
The whole channel, 51
Army Corps of Engineers.
It paid itself off in the first one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diane, I appreciate it. And thanks for everything you're doing and keeping us informed. Jenny, I have found the oath of office. So, and we have a seat. So why don't you come on up and I'll put this in front of you. So Terrence, am I to read this to her and have her repeat after me?
Yes.
Okay. You don't have a fancy nameplate yet. You'll have to wait for the engravers to come up with that. So I think it would be, hi Jennifer Bonoff. Well, forget, you'll say Studio City, because it wouldn't matter. So give us your name
I, Jennifer Bornoff,
and then,
I pledge to represent Studio City with dignity, integrity, and pride. I will encourage other points of view even when they differ from my own. I will respect, value, and consider everyone's opinion. I will find the good in my neighborhood and praise it and promote it. To my neighbors and to my neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles, I pledge to do this to the best of my ability.
thank you very much. There's a ton of training you'll need to take before you can vote on anything financial, and there's a number of other HR sort of trainings, and we'll get you hooked up with all of that.
Get you a sign.
Okay, Tony, now you're up. Kim, you missed the very dramatic oath. So we are now 15, folks.
My name is Tony Knight. I'm on the Sustainability Committee, and I'm here representing Adele, who's been here tonight. And we wanted to just make a report and a request a motion that's in the packet, so I'll read it. That the Studio City Neighborhood Council requests that council members Cynthia Rahman and Paul Pretorian introduce and second a motion in the city council to ban any new installation of artificial turf, synthetic grass in the city of Los Angeles on public and private property. With the passing of State Bill SB 676 signed by Governor Newsom, allowing municipalities to impose bans on residential property, specifying that drought-tolerant landscaping does not include the installation of synthetic grass or artificial turf. We've included a link to the statement prepared by the Community Forest Advisory Committee to the City of Los Angeles in support of a motion to ban the installation of synthetic turf in the City of Los Angeles. And I can answer any questions about this. We had a long discussion about it at our meeting last week.
We have.
You need a second.
I second.
Can't do it, Lori, you're the bringer. It's brought by you.
Point of order, Mr. President. It says right here it was passed, 5 yes, 4 absent, but also says it requires a second. Was there a quorum at the committee?
Yes.
And it was passed in the committee.
Yes.
Was this motion altered on the way to this board meeting tonight in any way?
No.
Is it different? It doesn't require a second.
Okay.
It's a quorum.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that. Okay, before we go forward, we had to have a conversation about Adele's CFAC membership, right? Did Adele give you a letter about her participation in CFAC?
I had a letter from CFAC about this matter. And it was a question about Adele's involvement in CFAC.
Yes.
Yeah.
CFAC.
It's a Community Forest Advisory Council. So the Community Forest Advisory Council is a governmental agency. CD4 had recommended Adele to be a member of CFAC as an alternate. She sits in those meetings. Paperwork was not filed yet by CD4. So she is not officially a member of the CFAC board, but she is on their artificial turf task force. So she does sit on a board dealing with this topic for another governmental agency to which she was appointed by City Council District 4. So in light of that potentially seen as a potential conflict of interest, she wanted to make sure that was public. Per our Article 5 of the bylaws, technically she should actually come forward to the board before taking up a motion saying, I have this particular situation. Are you guys cool with it? I'd like to move forward. We didn't have a chance to do that based on the way this went down. the committee has done the work. So the request is, can we move forward with the motion? So I think we need to have a vote from the board, whether or not they feel that there's a conflict of interest that needs to be discussed before the motion gets moved forward, or can we move the motion forward to conversation? Is
But
that
she's
right?
not here. There's no conflict unless she votes at the board meeting, and she won't be.
Well, it's because it was brought forward to the committee, right?
But there's
Well, hold on a
there's
second,
only
Barry.
finality from a board vote.
But the bylaws say that she needs to bring up the issue before she takes the motion under consideration in committee.
Is this an emergency or can it go to next month?
It's gone to next month 3 times now. It's got to be issues. So, yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, the fact that she's doing similar work for another entity substantiates her positions on this. I don't think it's a conflict.
Yeah, I don't think it represents a conflict of interest either.
So, are there any questions about that anyone wants to talk about, Jerry?
I think the discussion last time was that it wasn't made public before the motion came up to the board. But
Right.
So it came last month, so it's before today's motion.
Right.
So it's done.
Okay. So we want to have a show of hands, Richard?
I just think you should have some sort of, something in the record showing that we're waiving any conflict of interest concern regarding the transaction.
Okay, so we're going to have an affirmative vote to waive any conflict of interest concern. Is that possible? Terrence?
No, did she go to the city attorney's office to get clarity on?
Yes, and the city attorney said if you don't think you have a problem, it's not a problem. Our bylaws say it needs to come to the, and that was the issue.
Because that's the first I've ever heard of a bylaw that says that, because it's clear to the city attorney, it's
Yeah.
clear.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have an affirmative vote means that the motion can move forward and she's cleared of conflict of interest on artificial turf. Okay?
Okay.
There's also the bylaw also says the appearance of a conflict of interest.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be an actual conflict, there can also be an appearance of a conflict of interest.
And the lack of disclosure creates the appearance of a potential conflict of interest now that it's been disclosed?
Right.
Right, the board member needs to make an affirmative disclosure of any direct conflict or a potential conflict or the appearance of conflict of interest. I don't think she did that prior to last month's motion. But now it's been aired, so I think the disclosure is there. So it's really a disclosure requirement. So
That's done.
it probably has been fulfilled, I would say.
I agree.
Okay.
Public comment?
That's 2 of my 3 attorneys, 3 of my 3 attorneys. We're all good. Okay, Barry?
Just
4, I'm sorry, we have 4 now.
Just for what it's worth, and I'm just speaking about the motion itself, it's gonna go nowhere. Krikorian is not gonna do anything on this because he's put in artificial turf all over his district. I've heard his office say that and remind me that they put it in all over the place. And I think CD4 is gonna follow CD2's lead on this. So while I respect the ideals behind it, I don't think it's going anywhere being sent to these 2 council members. I really don't. So in that regard, it's sort of a waste of time. And I don't know if the maker of the motion realizes that, or the committee.
So are you saying that it might be a better idea to hold off to see if there are 2 different there might be, there's certainly going to be 1 different council member, in the near future in CD2, and there may be a different council member in CD4.
Well, for sure in 2, because Krikorian's gone.
Well, right.
In December.
Right, and there may be a different one in 4. So maybe we should.
I think it's been brought before us, so I don't think we can put it off or request to put it off.
You can table it.
But I think you definitely, as a committee, should have felt out where Nithya Raman is on this. I mean, I can tell you where Krikorian is, but she's an unknown. So if you want to pursue this before, the new people take office next December, you ought to find out where she is. Because she could make the motion and probably get another council member to second it. It doesn't have to be Krikorian. But if it's going to be one of our 2, you need to talk to her and find out if she'd even do it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think in this case, I know that the sustainability committee feels really strongly that this artificial grass is just so dangerous and toxic and creates a heat island effect and.
Point of order. Are we doing public comment or board comment right now? Because it's a mixture of both right now.
You're right, Brent.
Clearance to.
Hold on a second.
What side of the room is talking right now?
Thank you, Brandon. Barry, you're done. Thank you, sir. Brandon.
Okay. Sorry about that, but you guys know from my history here, I'm a stickler for.
Yeah, let's go. Pardon me?
You still have the ethics motion. You haven't even voted on it.
Okay, we're going to vote in the yes. Thank you so much for that. We're going to vote on the ethics motion. I just want to run through the roll call.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Who's the second on that?
It said it didn't need a second.
May I ask a question? Well, make a statement. Is this is concerning, motion A? Is now, I don't own any real property, but, and I'm not a particular fan of.
Could we, I'll come back to you as soon as we get done with this one parliamentary motion, and then I promise I'll come right.
Private property, that's an issue, is it? You have to
Yeah, I'll come right back to you.
Second. That wasn't made clear.
Yes, so it doesn't need to be seconded because it was approved in committee.
Okay. So this is just for the.
This is just for the waiver of any conflict of interest concerns.
So a yes vote is affirming that.
That we're going to move forward.
Okay, yes.
A yes, she's clear.
Clements?
Yeah, we're waiving.
Clements?
Yes, we're waiving.
Yes, we're waiving. Yes, she's clear.
Clements?
Yes.
Cutler?
Yes.
Gassionis?
Yeah.
Spelling?
Yes.
Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Peterborough?
Yes.
Rittenberg?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Oh, and, I'm sorry, I forgot, Orno.
I can't vote yet, can I?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Oh, yes.
It's not.
You could go no just to start it off and be really contrary and make everyone think, what have we done? Sir, I interrupted you, but we had to finish that. Back to your question, sir.
That's what the motion is. So I don't own any real property. There's a particular issue about private, and I'm not a particular fan of artificial turf. It isn't good for the environment. It kills the ground under it, and it doesn't allow for soil absorption. Is that, but, private property, as long as it's not federally legal like marijuana, but, to get that one in, is it city business if a person wants to put on artificial turf? I'm not speaking for the artificial turf industry either. Isn't it private property, what people do with their private property? But is this maybe because of ecology that, this particular motion is,
I could probably answer that for you, I think.
you know, like, Chile, use,
Yeah, what's happened is that, in the history of this, was that there was a law, under Governor Brown's period of time, that forbade cities from banning artificial turf because it was considered to be a way of, reducing the drought tolerance. So now what's happened is that because it's come to light of the dangers of the chemicals that wash off of it, that it's now allowed cities to ban it if they wish to. So two cities have already done so, Millbrae and San Marino, and we're waiting for a big city to do it, like Los Angeles, because of the fact that when the chemicals wash off, maybe on private property, but they wash off into public areas that are dangerous for children and everybody else.
well, water is, actually, it's an acid, H2O.
Yeah, exactly.
And it kind of,
Okay.
hey,
All right.
okay.
Thank you.
Ecology.
Is there any other public comment?
I can't stand track.
Yes, now we should.
What do you want to say?
What do you think, 90?
Minute 15.
Sold, 75. All right,
Say a minute.
okay. So we're done with public comment. Are there any other board questions about this particular motion? Jeff?
I just think this goes too far. It referenced Senate Bill 676, and that ban went only to residential artificial turf. This seeks to ban any new installation on both public and private property. So what the city of LA would end up doing is is banning not only residential, but also public turf. So that would mean Valley College couldn't repair or install turf, UCLA, all the different schools around the neighborhood, Witsit Park, Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks Park, where they have turf fields. And Governor Newsom just vetoed a bill that would have applied the turf ban to public property as well, and he vetoed it. So I think for the city the city would be stepping beyond its skis a little bit here. I think this is just way too much. Residential, there's a point because SB 676 did apply to residential, but this encompasses public as well. So I think this is a bridge too far. I don't think we need this right now. The governor vetoed it, and it would have deleterious effects on our local parks and private and public schools in the area. So that's my point.
So the public schools, just so you know, are under the Field Act, and they wouldn't be, you can't make local laws that violate the Field Act. So it wouldn't apply to public schools or universities. It would apply to private schools and the public parks, obviously.
And private property.
And private property. I mean, this is the idea, it's the concept, you know how these things go. They get worked on and adjusted, et cetera. The idea that I think that the Sustainability Council would like to see is we would like to see way less artificial turf being applied. We're seeing it applied to parkways all over the place, all throughout the city. Right now, I think homeowners are doing it in a way that they think they're well-intentioned, but they don't really know enough about it. There's a lot of new information coming out about the PFAS, the permanent chemicals that are in it. So that's why we'd like to see some movement on it at the city level.
Yeah, usually Jeff, you and I see eye to eye on a lot of things, but I have to go with a ban on artificial turf. I play soccer a few times a week on all the fields that we play on right now are full of artificial turf. When I get home, I'm picking little green bits of turf out of my vehicle, out of my carpet, out of my laundry. They end up in my bed. It's just everywhere. And that's just from, 1 hour of running around. I have a nephew who's like deathly allergic to the chemicals that come off of it. It's really bad stuff. Like it's not just, it's not like some carpet in your house or something. The chemicals in it are really bad. The pollution that it directly makes as it decomposes under use are really, really bad. I just think that if you have an opportunity to get out in front of something that's going to be major lawsuits, like a lot of universities are saying, we're not going to do this because, a lot of proteins are saying we're not going to do this because we just refuse to, expose our players to this. There have been lawsuits over it that have been won by players who've been injured from using the turf. And, and I understand, there are private property rights, but I can't have chemicals running off that harm my neighbor. If I install a bucket of, Agent Orange or something in my garage and just let it run out into the street and kids play in it and they get sick, that's on me. And we don't fully understand, all of the long-term effects that these chemicals are having, but you can directly see all of that junk floating in the rain, running down the street, running into the river, and then running into the ocean. And then I can't buy any fish from the market that doesn't have 1 million microplastics in it. So this is like grinding up 1 million drinking straws and just chucking it in the river every time it rains. We wouldn't say, oh yeah, we should do that. We should definitely say no to something so directly harmful in the near term and far. And I think we should.
I have something to say. I think regardless of the fact that maybe Councilman Krikorian it would be resistant to this, and we don't really know where Ramen is. I mean, she certainly didn't try and force, as far as we know, Harvard Westlake to not install artificial turf in the Wellington project. I think it's important to make a statement right now. If in fact we have 2 brand-new council members in a few months, we could bring it up again, can't we? Any reason why we can't?
No.
Okay, so I think we should do it now. I think we should vote yes now.
I think we needed, I am vehemently opposed to artificial turf. I think we have enough plastics out there, and I think that, as I've said before in these meetings, we need to shoot in front of the duck. I mean, the research is not comprehensive, or it's not, but we know, it's not conclusive yet, but we need to figure it out. But I think we need to change some of the language on this. I would propose we change the second sentence, which to me, where it says with, I would propose we say the passage of State Bill SB 676, signed by Governor Newsom, allows municipalities to impose bans on residential property and specify that drought-tolerant landscaping does not include the installation of synthetic grass or artificial turf. This linked to statement on the motion sounds like it's a note to self more than as part of the motion, so I think that should be excluded. So I would propose we vote on the motion that says, the SCNC requests the SCNC requests council members Nithya Raman and Paul Kokorian introduce and second a motion of the city council to ban any new installation of artificial turf or synthetic grass in the city of Los Angeles on public and private property. The passing of State Bill SB 676, signed by Governor Newsom, allows municipalities to impose bans on residential property and specifies that drought-tolerant landscaping does not include the installation of synthetic grass or artificial turf, period. And then let's see what they come back with. And take the rest of it out, because I mean, we're gonna see what they come back with. I mean, I think that the point about private property is well taken, and my point to the Sustainability Committee has been, it's gonna be better to go to the city first and have the city lead by example, because the city is not gonna be able to turn around and dictate what happens on private land if they're hypocritically putting artificial turf in. And we all know that Krikorian has the problem, because if you go back 10 years, the research on artificial turf is new. There was a great big of political hula.
Order.
Sir?
Is this an amendment?
Yes.
No second, you're already discussing it without a second.
Okay.
It's invalid.
So,
And then you need public comment.
all right, so I'm going to read this again, and I'll ask for a second. The SCNC requests Councilmember Nithya Raman and Paul Kokorian introduce and second a motion in the city council to ban any new installation of artificial turf or synthetic grass in the city of Los Angeles on public and private property. The passage of State Bill SB 676, signed by Governor Newsom, allows municipalities to impose bans on residential property and specify that drought-tolerant landscaping does not include the installation of synthetic grass or artificial turf. Do I have a second for that proposed amendment? Thank you. Now it's public comment. Lisa, you were up first.
Did I hear properly that SB 676 is only for private property?
Residential.
I mean, well, that's what I mean. Okay, so then I think you have to take out in that sentence, City of Los Angeles on public. I think you should take that out. Because that SB does not comport to public.
It just allows it, just to answer your question, the
I'm not
committee,
asking a question.
well, I'm gonna tell you that the committee talked about that, and they, like you said, they wanted the city to set an example by stop using it in public parks, et cetera.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that if 676 is only for residential property, then public is not residential.
Rick Barry?
Yeah, but you clearly say what the bill is for, but yet you're asking for more, so I don't have a problem with that. But I would say, just if you all pass it tonight, doesn't mean you have to send it immediately. You can send it once you know you have somebody favorable to send it to. So, you know, like.
Can't you also send it now and send it later, or
Yes.
send it every
Yeah,
month
yeah.
if you please?
Well, but I think we have a 72, I don't think I can hold it, right? It's got to be sent out in 72 hours?
No,
No, there's no.
there's no timeline for sending it out.
Brandon?
It's your decision.
Question, River Park, is it considered a private school property or a public park? I remember you mentioned,
It's a private park.
but it's a park open to the public.
It's a private facility open to the public in the same manner that Weddington Golf and Tennis
So
is
this
privately
motion would
owned. Open.
attack River Park. Okay, thank you very much.
Actually, would they, as a private school, would they be part of that?
Well, they're not under the Field Act, and
The Field
there's
Act.
public schools that are under the Field Act. So they would be required to follow city codes, is my understanding.
So Notre Dame High School, Campbell Hall, Harvard Westlake would all be,
From installing
banned.
new turf, not existing.
Can they repair it?
Can they repair it though? That's the thing.
Well, that
Because
depends on what the city motion is. This doesn't go into the, that would be like page long.
I think it's when they replace, not repair.
Where is that?
It lasts about 10 years.
I don't like the fact that the schools are exempt.
The public schools are exempt because of this other
State
act.
laws, yeah.
So then we need to go back and repeal the Field Act.
Well, wouldn't necessarily be that. The state makes new laws regarding public schools every year and regarding construction, et cetera. It could be, I have the feeling that that's going to end up following in time, the public schools. They're not going to let the public schools get away with that and everybody else.
That's often the way though.
Well, sometimes
That's
they
the
do.
problem.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not, and I don't like putting the restrictions on homeowners. I think if it's gonna be banned, the stuff should be banned if it's that bad. I don't think we should be telling people, can't have it. I mean, it's perfectly legal product, can't have it within our city though.
and the FDA
That's
has
the
not banned
problem I
it.
have Yeah.
The
That's
FDA has
problem
not
I have.
banned it yet.
Imagine all the people.
Ready for a vote
Yeah.
on the board?
Yeah.
On
Richard,
the amendment, right?
On the amended,
on the amended. Yes, Richard?
Just seeing the people that want to put it down in their Juliet balcony are gonna fight this. Is it really worth the effort? When it comes to parcels, pieces, 2 square yards or less, or that's whatever you'd want to come up with. People do
The
use,
outdoor dining patios
yeah, I'm talking about
of the
Juliet
restaurants
balcony,
even too.
which are less than 2 cubic yards,
Yeah.
square yards.
The point of this motion is to get the conversation going about how do we stop getting acres and acres of plastic that only last 5 to 7
Well, I
years.
understand.
But I think you're right, and there's gonna be some,
In the middle of the balcony on the 27th floor. I hope.
so we're gonna vote on the amended motion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Burkhart, excuse me.
Yes.
Clemens.
Is this to accept the amendment or to vote on the amended motion?
This is,
Only.
The word is.
Remove the last sentence and to add and.
Okay, yes.
So don't take.
Cutler,
Yes.
Gassionis.
Yes.
Conlon,
Yes.
Hardwick,
No.
Larson,
Yes.
Lee,
yes,
Lewis,
Yes.
Meehan,
yes.
Uniberg,
Yeah,
Rittenberg,
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
Okay, 13-1. Passes.
So now we want to vote on approving the motion, the amended motion. We've now agreed on the amendment, and now we want to approve the motion. So now we will vote on the motion.
Jim, excuse me. 13-1, there's not enough votes.
What?
13-1, I think he said there's not enough votes, there's 15 now. Oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't.
And also Jen's not here either. Jen
Okay, then
lead.
it's not
So
13
there's
of 1.
14 of 16 are here.
He's
13
counting the
plus
youth-
1 is
the youth member.
14.
Oh, because actually, sorry, she's 16.
Waiting in New York.
Did you ever get a second for the original? It says
Yes,
something-
Dimitri did.
No, he did the amendment for the original one, it says right here. second.
We didn't need to get it seconded because it was approved in committee.
Oh, I'm reading what it says here.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, so remove that.
please.
Okay, Moreno,
Yes.
Burkhart? Yes. Clemens,
No.
Cutler,
Yes.
Gassionis,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Hardwick,
Nope.
Larson,
Yes.
Lee,
yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Meehan,
Yes.
Niederberg,
no,
Yes.
And Shaw.
Yes.
11 yes, and 3 no.
You have a better batting average than Adele. She's never coming back. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you very much on behalf of the committee.
You bet.
Thank you.
Moving to 11, cultural affairs. There's a PowerPoint presentation, and we didn't get the screen. And the PowerPoint wasn't printed out. And the PowerPoint presentation is a revision of the deck that Abby did in January, or was it December? Might have been December.
I think anyone can actually read.
No, I don't. I'm going to talk you through it. So at this point, we had a proposal for the Cultural Affairs Committee to launch a lecture series at the library that would happen on a Tuesday night, that would have topics that would interest the community, that would be relevant to Studio City, and would attract a different group of people than we're attracting with the other events that we have, which include movies in the park, some of these nascent river projects we're having, and some other events we'll put together. So we sent back Abby back to the drawing board. So basically, let me see if I can figure out how to move this forward. Basically, specifically, we asked Abby to tell us why a lecture series and why not rest on the laurels of the movies in the park. And that was because the lectures are easy, they're proven, they're successful, and they're popular. We've done this before. It wasn't clear at the time. A lecture series is going to appeal to a new group of stakeholders, potentially people who never attend movies in the park, et cetera. We can associate with the library to mutual advantage. We want to get more and more people following the neighborhood council. There are people that are adamant library fans. If we start doing events at the library, we'll be able to co-opt that fan database. We enhance our image with the library. We increase the library usage as well. The library is an important asset in the community. For us to drive more people to the public library is a good thing for us to do. And we'll convert the library fans to neighborhood council supporters. This is a low-cost, low-effort broadening event for the neighborhood council. It's an evening midweek. It attracts a different group of people. It leverages hot topics, so we can go after some of the topics that Abby has put together. But with a monthly lecture series, we can insert whatever it is you want to do. We could sit there and have a public safety. We will have a venue that's open to the public to insert topics that are important. They could be literary, they could be historical, they could be contemporary, they could be natural sciences. We could actually go through and talk about the other overlying or underlying themes that are part of February's Black History Month, June is Pride Month, that sort of thing. We could put all that together. We could leverage that. We could also do a sign-in table, and we'll be able to harvest attendees. On the PowerPoint is a lovely text that was sent to Abby by the chief librarian at the library, talking about how excited they are to have Abby and the neighborhood council interested in reinvigorating this lecture series because they've always been very popular. They're very successful and very easy. Abby has put together an April, May, and June schedule. In April, she's talking about the Great Flow, which is the flood that happened in 1938. Mary Mallory is going to put that together. She's an expert on the topic. We're going to do in May, It's Solved by Walking. A friend of Jen's wrote a book on walking the something to Cristo Trail in Spain. And it would be an interesting book on someone's journey on their feet and through their psyche in that particular travel. And it would be cool to actually meet with the author. And in June, Sean Smith is going to come in and talk about public safety, home safety. And we've talked about using that, Jeff, as the format to kick off neighborhood council supporting the formation of Neighborhood Watch. And getting the neighborhoods going together, which goes back to what you and I talked about, is how do we start getting Studio City broken out to finite groups of neighborhoods with block captains that start to run this. Someone runs Silver Triangle, someone runs the footbridge area. How do we start getting into the communities more? We'll be able to leverage that in June. The next page is asking for, no, then there's some other ones she's talking about, and the last, which goes through the rest of the year. The last page is asking for money. We went back and forth. Kim was very helpful for this. Thank you for being so candid. And what we did is, as part of this request, we're trying to define outreach versus cultural affairs. We did not really have an outreach campaign, outreach committee. So a lot of that fell onto Abby and it went in a lot of different directions. We're now very specifically under the outreach committee going to have SCNC branded relevant material that gets handed out as swag at these events, that has our QR code, our contact information. People have to give us their information to get it. So we're really going to use it as a way to actually get those people together. Abby is asking for money that does not include that piece of the pie. That swag is going to be part of the outreach budget. Abby's budget for three lectures in the second quarter are going to be snacks and refreshments, a total of 600, printing the flyers to get the information out, a total of 200. She's asking for $800 in the second quarter for the three events. So the motion is, by a show of hands, how do we feel, yes or no, to give Abby and her committee the $800 to put these three together? And then we'll deal with what we're going to do in the new fiscal year when that's done. So, show of hands, yes? Public comment. I'm sorry, public comment.
Money vote, don't you have to do a voice vote?
Yes.
Not a show of hands.
Okay. We'll do a voice vote. And Jenny, you can't vote for money yet. Public comment, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Marino.
Mary Mallory, who's doing this, has a following. So, as she mentioned at the Cultural Affairs Committee meeting, whenever she has lectures, she does bring a group of people. Say she's a rock star or anything like that, but she does have a group of people that follow her around. And a lot of these people may not know what the neighborhood council is. So these lectures might bring in some, like you said, a different type of person who normally wouldn't go to like Farmer's Market or say movies in the park. Also, you guys still have a lot of money to spend. And it's not like, so $800 isn't a lot of money when you talk about lecture series that are different, like you said, a different type of branding for Studio City Neighborhood Council, and I bring in a bunch of people who will attend these meetings every single month. It's not a lot to ask.
Sharon.
My suggestion for the flyers would be put them in the little libraries. We have several little libraries all over Studio City,
Great idea.
and those are people that use libraries.
That's a great idea. Hadn't thought of that. Lisa.
The swag like food, it really brings people in. I think you should have it at these board meetings too. And it was the best way that we ever got anybody to sign up and get it.
Okay. We can do that. Are we done with public comment? Board comment?
Just want to say the facility has, of course, built-in roll-down screen, built-in video projector overhead, so, and of course, completely ADA compliant. So it makes it easy to use that room. Also, you can lock off the main library and still use the multi-purpose room because it has its own entrance.
I have some questions and concerns.
Okay.
I wish that Abby or Jen were here to talk to them because they're the two that, the outreach and the cultural affairs.
Yeah.
So, because my concerns and questions have to do with who will man these things? If it's supposed to be an SCNC event, these are going to be events. It has to be treated as such, even if there's no fee. I've had conversations with the clerk's office. These are events that we are hosting essentially. And so that we have to do the same paperwork that we do for the movies in the park. There's certain things we have to get. somebody needs to be there and man each one of these and give out the swag and get people's emails. And every single month, to have these every single month, I'm not sure who actually will show, who has the time to do so. And right now, we seem to have a lot of things going on. We've got the movies, the cleaning up the ZEV. This is being added in. And so far, and I think a lot may be falling to outreach. Jen also happens to hold the credit card. So that she is one who can purchase along with yourself.
I just got mine.
Okay, there's only 2 people who can do that kind of purchasing, the refreshments she's talking about. Somebody has to purchase it, get it there, man tables, clean up. Paperwork has to be done from clerk's office for every month. Now, I don't know if we can do it in a bulk, but these are also a different, it's not just the library. I noticed Beaman Park is one location for the safety. I don't know if others have picked up on that. But so while this is a good idea and it reaches out to the library, I think that it's too much. The neighborhood council isn't just about putting on events. And I really would love to hear Jen's input. So far, we have a movie coming up in March, and we're holding off on flyers. I don't know if any advertising's been done yet. I don't think any of the merchandise has been purchased yet. So, and there was a reason we were holding back and waiting, because we were trying to get the other summer movie approved so that we could buy the merchandise together in one batch, but that has been problematic. So, well, that's coming up. We'll be talking about that one. But these are my concerns. So while this all sounds great, it's not much money, I just truly don't think that it's going to come off the same way. Abby has not necessarily been. She's been great with the movies in the park and stuff, so I don't know, but I don't know who's going to be getting the word out and
I can speak
doing the
for
buying.
Abby, 'cause I'm on the committee.
Okay, please,
It's
yes.
all been planned for, just like the movies. And the publicity's already planned for, as it is for the movies. That is not going out until March 6th because
I
Cynthia
heard,
Rahman
yes.
is a
I heard the
sponsor and we don't want to put it out before the election, but it's all in the works. Thank you, Brandon.
It's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is there gonna be an SCNC representative at each of these lectures?
And you
Yes.
need a couple few people to be manning them to refreshments and if that's what they're planning.
Well, it's not just the refreshments, I mean, it's the notion that, you know, one of the missions of this is converting library fans into so-called SCNC supporters. I would like to have just more information about the execution of that, how that's gonna happen.
There'll be a table for people to sign in when they get there.
But then we need, who, is it Abby or who's gonna be?
It's the-
I don't know why you're questioning the execution. We have executed these events without any trouble over the years,
You can-
and we always make
Mary,
it
Mary, you
happen.
can take any issue with it you want. I think it's a fairly basic question to be putting forth if we're asking to be spending
Well,
money.
it's been discussed in committee, and it's taken,
been discussed here.
but that's what the committee is for.
May I?
Well, but we need
May I
to,
answer?
in order to
Hold
approve,
on,
we
please.
need to have answers, Barry.
And they're
You know?
very basic questions.
Barry, have all of the speakers been selected for these like 12 events?
No,
We have,
Just
for the first three, but that's all you're voting for tonight.
Just the first 3?
Yeah.
There was a layout in this, as to the other speakers as well, the thoughts I guess they had, or it was filled in, but we can only vote within this fiscal year.
Sure. I think my concern for this is that we are careful in our selection of speaker and topic because it does, you know, it is sponsored by the neighborhood council. And I think, I think it would be good not to alienate, the majority of people. If we bring somebody who's not representing the views of the board. Because we have been kind of burned before by, sort of an unknown.
yeah, I mean, we'll be careful about the topic. But as far as the question, who's going to table, the Cultural Affairs Committee says they're going to be there. They'll be the manpower. We'll put out some other requests. Jen caught a disease from a bunch of high school students where she was a proctor, taking a bunch of kids to New York this weekend. So that's why she's not here. Traveling with high school students is not good for your health.
It's great. I just think we
Good.
have a finite amount of resources.
Yeah, but this
It's
is not
getting
Jen,
spent
this is
thin.
the cultural affairs group, right? So all she has to do is hit send on the work that's already done, once we're cleared to get Nithia's image out there, and it will be promoted, and we only need to get 20 to 30 people, and with Mallory's, that's been addressed, and they think it's okay.
It's with Nithya
Hold on,
Roth.
please.
The lecture series has something to do with.
I'm sorry, that's the movie, you're right.
That's the movies.
Yes,
But somebody has to purchase refreshments.
yeah,
Taken care of.
yeah, that's a trip.
Okay?
I don't even know why you bring that up.
But
I
hold
always
on.
do it.
Hold on, Richard.
I'm offended by you
But you
bringing
don't
it
have
up.
a card, so I just don't want to overload
It's
Jen
taken care
or
of because
Chip.
I go with a cold card holder. It's all taken care
I
of.
understand.
And I'm offended that you're
Relax,
bringing it
Gary.
up.
Relax.
I'm not
I'm-
relaxed because it's always been taken care of.
Please,
I understand
stop.
that.
Guys,
You-
stop,
You've worked with Richard or others. I
It's
just
taken
don't
care
want to.
of.
stop.
I would have
Richard?
liked to have
I would
heard
like
that
to call
from
for a
Jen
vote.
or Chip, that they are fine with being the ones, because
Yes.
they are the card holders.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing my truck to Costco, wherever we
I'd
get,
like to
and
call the previous question.
go for it.
Oh,
I've been one that doesn't leave at the library. Never had a problem at all, you know, and, if I needed refreshments, I would
Call the
just call
previous
the
question.
library.
Okay, hold on, Richard.
See, yeah.
Okay, Richard, hold
Point
on.
of order, Richard, Drew calling the previous question, stop discussion.
Unless everyone wants to.
Two-thirds vote.
So now we
Now
have
we
to
have
do,
to vote on stopping communications?
yes.
Thank you.
Okay, could we have a vote to see if we should stop discussing this? So, Terrence, would you? We're voting on the motion to call the previous question, to stop discussion on the event.
Yeah, let me, give me a second.
A second.
Okay, Warnock?
Yes.
Berger?
yes.
Clemens?
No.
Cutler?
No.
Gatsios?
No.
Conley?
No.
Hardwick?
No.
Larson?
No.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
No.
Gilbert?
No.
Rittenberg?
No.
And Shaw?
Yes.
Motion fails.
So may I just recap where we are? Where we are, I believe, is, this is a good idea. Is it too much to reach? The Cultural Affairs Committee says they're gonna do it. I don't mind, or Jen doesn't mind, making the trip to the store to get the refreshments, because we need to restock all of this anyhow. So that will be part of the same piece. The request is that we take a leap of faith that the Cultural Affairs Committee can put this together. And if they have a miserable 3 months, we don't talk about this ever again. If they pull this off, we potentially have a relatively low lift, low expense broadening event that has worked in the past. Right, Richard?
Yeah, also the library, you know, it's kind of like their event too, so it goes out on their email also, in publications. That helps us get people.
And Chip, we always used a list of the 15 people to sign up who are on this board that should want to work at these things. That was the way everybody participated. And of
Okay.
course, you're supposed to participate for a certain amount of hours every year.
Thanks.
And the lectures are a piece of cake compared to the movie.
Could I,
Right.
guys, we're done with public comment, if I could just do that? Okay, so that's where we are. I would like to ask that we have a vote. Okay, thank you. We're gonna have a vote to yes approve or no disapprove and squash, and you can't vote on money still. You see that.
And the 800 is for refreshments?
The 800 is for a combination of refreshments and printing, 600 for refreshments and 200 for publications, printing.
In the past, the Friends of the Library have provided refreshments on occasion.
We'll figure it out.
Richard, I'm sorry.
Okay, Bogart? Yes. Clemens?
No,
Cutler?
Yes.
Castellanos?
Yes.
Gomez?
I don't think I can vote. I'm under it.
Oh, that's right, because the 800. All right. Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Ginsburg?
Yes.
Wittenberg?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
11 yeses, 1 no. And 2 ineligible.
Okey-doke. Do you want to do the date change? Or-
you know, I'm not even sure these are gonna fly in the way that they're written because it just says approval of, and it doesn't say, it's not written in the motion. And especially for financial matters, it has to be a motion. And we had to leave B, the expenditure report one. So I'm not even sure that this is gonna fly with the clerk's office when I try to put a BAC in this. So, I don't know, but we'll move forward with the next, which is a date change of the movie. The June movie, the summer movie, it was scheduled for, I don't know the dates offhand.
June 1st.
It was the first, now it's the 8th. The park had some employee issue or something, so the date got changed. Therefore, the clerk's office would not approve the board action certification that I have to put along with an entire packet to get the events approved. So they asked for a new BAC, so we're asking everyone to approve the date change. Silly as that sounds. So, I guess, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I think if you include or tell them it was asked for by another city entity being Recreation and Parks, they shouldn't deny it.
They were on the thread. It doesn't matter. They just need a BAC sync, because ours said June 1st. Now it has to, the thing has to say June 8th. So people have to be on board with this. This is where I'm not sure, because it's not in the form of the motion.
Could I? May
Not
I
positive. Yes.
propose an alternative motion or an amended motion?
Okay,
So the SCNC board approves the date change for the June movie in the park from June 1st to June 8th to accommodate staffing needs at Beaman Park. Could I have someone give me a second?
Second.
if that,
Does that sound like that works?
we'll try it, but I don't know then why the MER could do a motion and change. We had to pass that one. I don't know the regulations here on this.
You're not changing any money, you're only changing a date. They shouldn't
No,
have.
I know.
So, okay, so the amendment has been seconded. We now need to vote on the seconded amendment.
Public comments.
Public comment on the seconded amendment. I see no public comment. So we will now vote on accepting the amended motion, right? Are we-
Yes, amended date.
No.
So I'm going to read the motion again. The SCNC board approves the date change of the June movie in the park from June 1st to June 8th to accommodate Beaman Park staffing issues.
Motion to amend.
I did motion to amend. Now I'm going to motion to vote.
Yeah.
So could I motion to
Voting on
vote?
the amendment right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're voting on the amendment.
Porno?
Yes.
Burkhart? Yes. Clemens?
Yes.
Cutler?
Yes.
Gassion?
Yes.
Garland?
Yes.
Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Ginsburg?
Yeah.
Rydberg?
Yes.
Schwab?
Yes.
Southwood?
Now we're going to vote on approving the date change. Right? So now we're going to vote yes or no for the motion. When you're ready, Terrence. Do you want me to read the motion again?
No.
Okay.
Porno?
Yes.
Burkhart? Yes. Clemens?
Yes.
Cutler?
Yes.
Gassion?
Yes.
Garland?
Yes.
Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee? Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Ginsburg?
Yes.
Rydberg?
Yes.
Schwab?
Yes.
Unanimous, 14-0-0.
Moving to 12. Barry, do you want to run through your motions?
The first one I have is the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 23-0918 for recommendations and best practices that will streamline and implement better coordination between the departments and bureaus who build and maintain public infrastructure in the public right-of-way, sidewalks, and parkway. It should say, that should be an S typo, parkways plural, by evaluating, reducing the number of steps involved in the approval process, providing clear guidance to the public and appropriate timelines for implementation. The report back, in quotes, from the Department of Public Works and the Los Angeles Department of Transportation within 60 days of the October 20th, 2023 final council vote is now overdue. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS, to Council File 23-0918. So, and just let me say, sometimes we support a motion before the city council has voted on something. And then when they vote, the council votes to get a report back. Well, here, we didn't chime in originally. We're chiming in now because they passed something and they asked for a report back in 60 days, and that hasn't happened. So not only are we supporting it, but we're asking why the report back hasn't come yet. And if you were to go through council files, probably half of them never get a report back, so they go nowhere. So I feel like by us chiming in now, we're reminding them that that report back has never come. So it's the first time I've done one like this, but I think it needs to be said when they're not reporting back in a timely manner.
First public comment?
Was there a forum at the time?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, this motion is brought by Chip Meehan, and we need a second. Thank you, Richard. Chip?
Public comment? No public comment? Board, Brandon? Just under the wire.
It was probably brought up for a second because I wasn't at government affairs, my apologies. I've been going to a few neighborhood council meetings online, and I keep bringing up AB 13, which just became law this year. It's the daylighting law about crosswalks and pedestrian crossings that no cars can stop or park within 20 feet. Now, along Ventura Boulevard, it's no big deal in major areas, but residential areas, it's going to be a Herculean task to get the signage and the paint on the curbs. And all of 2024, municipalities like Los Angeles can give warnings. Beginning in 2025, it's going to be a ticket if you park too close to a pedestrian crossing, too close to the intersection. And this report really needs to come out because there's going to have to be a cooperation between the departments to get this done. It's going to be a Herculean task. 500 square feet of area needs to be covered. And I don't know if they can pull it off. And there's going to be a lot of pissed off residents getting a ticket one morning and they didn't know about AB 413, so I'm in support of this completely.
Thank you. Any other public comment? We're going to go to board comment. Any board comment? This is something that Barry and I have talked about. The measure of our success can't be how busy we make Jeff by firing off a million CASs that go out into the air and nothing ever happens. To sit there and do nothing but call for accountability, like we found something after our August situation where there was a very important callback request from the council about sex offenders serving in neighborhood councils, and that never actually had a report back. And that would have been really telling had the city council actually done report backs. So holding these folks to accountability, if they don't agree with us and they're never going to report back, or they're never going to ban artificial turf, tell us that we disagree. Just don't be the void. So I'd like to do more of these. We talked about this, we sent it out, we haven't gotten action, what's the story? As opposed to just constantly doing that. So I like this kind of accountability as a direction moving forward.
Will it make a difference to them? I mean, do you
We'll
feel
find
it
out.
influence their behavior?
Potentially.
Yeah.
And I think that,
Becomes part of the record as well, I guess.
yes, I think that's important.
Right.
Any other comment? Call for a vote?
Yes.
Need a second?
No, we have a second. Richard. Orno?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. Clement?
Yes.
Cutler?
Yes.
Galsionis?
Yes.
Rahman?
Yes.
Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Hanover? Yes. Rittenberg?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
14-0-0, unanimous.
And motion B, this goes to what the list from CD4 was talking about earlier about the Van Nuys Airport. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 23-1339 to instruct the Planning Department with the assistance of Los Angeles World Airports and in consultation with Council District 6 as committee chair responsible for the formation and commencement of the Van Nuys Airport Specific Plan Citizens Advisory Committee, to convene the necessary citizen advisory committee meetings that will serve to provide input during all phases of development process of the Van Nuys Airport Specific Plan and its relevant studies, and which will include at least one stakeholder, at least one local resident / stakeholder from, but not limited to, Council Districts 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, and provide an option for Council District office staff participation. A specific plan will help protect the residents of CD2, CD3, CD4, CD6, and CD12, and everyone surrounding the Van Nuys Airport. This motion is to be submitted as a CIS to Council File 23-1339, and the motion is brought by Chip Meehan, and it needs a second.
Second.
Thanks, Lori. Chip?
We obviously have an issue with airport noise. The Van Nuys situation is getting worse. Santa Monica Airport shuts down in 28, 26. Santa Monica Airport will shut down. They've already offloaded most of their traffic, particularly the jet traffic, to Van Nuys, and it's happened really without much regulation. It's becoming untenable for the folks that are over there. Having a plan is probably a good idea. We're supporting the formation of the structure to put a specific plan together and figure it out. There was an article, did I send it out to the transportation group, that talked about the size of the runways that are over there? The runways at Van Nuys are bigger than the runways at Burbank. They're longer by like 1,000 feet. So the.
And there are 737s.
Well, and I thought that that wasn't true. My son and daughter-in-law live over in Lake Balboa, and he was talking about the 737s. I thought he was not accurate. And about that time, the 737 took off. It's sort of alarming to have an airliner take off there. So,
Is it private?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Any public questions? We did that already? Brandon?
Well, just about the runway, I thought there was an Air Force, squadron there at one time that moved, I think, to, Oxnard or something like that. They were stationed there, so I think that's why the runway was so long.
That could be.
But, I forgot the name off the top of my head, but yeah, I like this. I think it's a good idea.
Ready for a vote? If no more board, vote.
Borno? Yes. Burkhart? Yes. Clemens?
Yes.
Yes. Castillo? Yes. Drummond?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Niederberg?
Yes.
Brittenberg?
Yes.
Shaw? 14-0-0, unanimous.
Thank you, Barry.
And there is, the motion C is a typo. It's just a reprint of the one we just did.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. And just a little bit of trivia for that runway lane. The runway used to just be from Roscoe to Sherman Way, and then they built the runway over Sherman Way, you go under it, so they could extend it to Van Owen, and that's when those jets came in. But it was shorter before.
Lisa? Okay, sorry we didn't get out at 9, but if we're lucky, we can get out by 10. Sorry, everybody. Blame it on Jen.
8,000, 2,000, a little more?
Have a little report, do you want it, or just go to the motion?
However you want to proceed.
Okay, the PRB, plum meeting happened yesterday, and at the last possible second, the council people, Ronan and, Blumenfield. Little louder, Lisa? Yes, okay. So the PRB plum meeting happened yesterday, and at 12 o'clock, it was a 2 o'clock meeting. The two council districts, 3 and 4, they decided to send out a letter to change the makeup of the board from what they had originally wanted. And that is to add 2 at-large other committee members, which does not get to the 13 that everyone proposed. That's the neighborhood councils and all of the associations along the boulevard. Well, every single one of them has sent something in to support 13 members. So you guys did that too, it was a while ago. And so what that purpose is to have a board that actually comports to the specific plan, which would have 2 members from every one of the 6 communities along Ventura Boulevard and Cahuenga. So that would be Woodland Hills, Tarzana, Encino, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, and Cahuenga Pass. Cahuenga Pass, when the original specific plan was formed, was stuck in with Studio City because they didn't have enough residents. But we have tried to get that separated. It's separated by many things, but still not separated enough. We did ask for that to be a change, but they didn't do it. So anyway, they did change that at Plum, so now there's the 2 more that are at large, which means basically they can come from any place. They don't have to be from the particular 6 communities. Okay, I received the determination letter for Jalapeno Pete's. It's the biggest determination letter I think I've ever seen. It's 53 pages, and I really didn't have time to go over that, so I will have a report on that next month. We also were supposed to have an alfresco report, which our other business took so long that we decided we would just hold that over until next month. So next month, I hope we'll have some information so all you guys will understand what the alfresco is and what they're allowed to do and things like that. Also, I have 6 current applications. And I don't have to run out, I have all the addresses, but I don't know how long it's gonna take us to get through all of those. And I've been having some trouble getting in touch with the representatives, so most of them are on Ventura Boulevard. They're all big, huge things from something that's small. But none of them are residential on Ventura Boulevard. Okay, so we can get to Blossom. We have Sam and Savannah. They're here to, if you have any questions, they're not gonna make a presentation, but if you have any questions, just let me know. And I will get to a little bit of information. For that, tomorrow is the hearing, Jeff, for Blossom. Its address is 11150 Ventura Boulevard. It's a, I think I'm tired now. Sorry. It's not a concert hall. It's a banquet hall, sorry. So they started their application in 2013. It's been going on for quite some time, as you can tell by that, but the hearing actually comes up tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If anybody's interested in, it's a phone-in, so if anybody's interested, I can give you the information and you can see what it's like to have a meeting where you're just talking to a ZA, the only person you can see. And then we went over extensively the Blossoms and the way that they are going to operate. We had many, many, many questions. In 2013, we did support this with a tremendous amount of conditions that we just absolutely felt was necessary for this piece of property. But the building is already built. They're really here for their liquor license. And the liquor license, we still feel could be conditioned more, and so that's how we came up with the motion. All of you would have had you would have gotten the documentation in the mail, in the email. I hope you looked at that stuff. And I didn't bring it, okay. So the other conditions were extensive, and we decided we had to add some more things because of where this particular place is. I hope that if any of you know where it is, it's across the street from the DWP, basically, where Arch comes from one side to the other, that it's at the west end of Arch, the street that's north of Ventura, okay? And so their parking is going to be 50 parking spaces, and they have a lease for the 50 parking spaces at the Marshall's location, which is gonna be kind of difficult to get over to there somehow. And so here's the motion. The Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council opposes the application ZA 2023-4786 CUB, there was an error, -CUX for Blossom Banquet Hall, 11150 West Ventura Boulevard, Studio City, unless the following conditions are included in the determination of the planning department. 1, valet charges must be part of the banquet fees. 2, amplified music on the roof shall not exceed Los Angeles Municipal Code Ordinance 144331 levels. 3, employee parking shall be at the valet lot. 4, install a 12-inch plexiglass barrier along the roof edge on the north side. 5, the roof to close no later than 10 p.m. 7 days a week. 6, liquor license to be renewed every 5 years. 7, 50 additional parking spaces must be in operation during all business hours. They only intended on having the business hours for the evening, and they want to open at 9 o'clock. And 9 o'clock in the morning, no cooking in the public area of the rooftop deck. Motion passed by the board in 2023 for the original application, DIR 2013-1688 SPPA, should be considered with the current application. Both motion letters are attached. And that's how the motion would go.
Can I just say that I think you said the motion's passed by the board in 2013. I think you said 20.
She said 23, it's
Yeah.
13.
Oh,
Should be 13.
sorry.
Yeah.
The motion passed by the board in 2013 for the original application, DIR 2013-1688 SPPA, should be considered with the current application. Both motion letters are attached. And you all should have seen those. I have them here if you want me to go over it. It's quite extensive.
Any public comment? Sir?
Yeah, my name's Howard Peterson, and I lived up above where this building was built. And I should tell you that I've been on a neighborhood council, I've been on a planning commission, I've been the chairman of a master's degree in urban planning. And we fought this from day one when it was first acquired. And we went and appealed it to the planning commission appeal board 3 times. And because the planning commission had originally approved it, you can appeal that. And the reason we appealed it was because of using the roof and what I call dead man's curve in Studio City. That street right there is the worst curve, the most dangerous curve in Studio City. And I commend the neighborhood council when they built the park. The park on that curve is a beautiful park, and it's a natural park. Unfortunately, it doesn't go all the way to where this building is and even the other two, because it would have eliminated really a real dangerous situation. And you should know.
That's your time.
Pardon me?
That's your time.
Oh, my goodness.
I think you can give them a little more time, Joe.
Please conclude.
It's, at the initial in 2013, they did not have a banquet hall that had 300 people and no parking. That corner, or that front curb, to have valets transporting people is gonna kill somebody. Somebody's gonna get hurt. And you guys are gonna be responsible. What they should do, because it's built, you can't fight that anymore. They should have the people go to a location like Universal does with their big parking lot down the street, and get them to Marshall's, build the crosswalk with flashing lights so someone doesn't get hurt. The city of Los Angeles, they violated the height restrictions, they let it go. They violated the square footage restrictions, they let it go. I have never seen a banquet hall for 300 people that doesn't have parking. That's it. It's a dangerous situation, and you guys are responsible for at least not calling that out. And those flashing lights and crosswalks should be built before they use it. They're doing it now.
Thank you.
Not enough time to even tell you what's going on.
Barry?
Yeah, the purview of what we can really comment on in a motion now, I think is well stated in the motion. And, you know, if we had to do it all over again from 11 years ago and more, I think it should have been fought more, but the building's there now.
Fought more.
And I think these conditions will help. So
Okay.
that's all we can do now.
Sir?
My name is Tim Hyde, and I don't know the Blossom Restaurant people for more than 2 hours. Does it seem a little unfair? These people have been here for 2.5 hours. They probably put in $1 million to build this building. They've had to wait 2.5 hours tonight. any of us put 6, 7 figures into anything in Studio City, business-wise, right? I mean, these guys got to do another meeting at 9:30 in the morning. To my esteemed colleague in a blue jacket over there, I'm an urban planning enthusiast. I can guarantee you that there is nothing in LA with huge parking lots that's very exciting. The box in the parking lot and the box in the parking lot is outdated. It's the worst urban planning myth that there is. Lisa, with all due respect to you, the 50 parking spaces is also voodoo. This is not me. This is Donald Shoup from UCLA that wrote the book, The High Cost of Free Parking. There's no science behind it. If anything, we borrow from other cities. These guys want to open a restaurant, let them open a restaurant. You want more mattress stores, more CVS's, more public storages? Is that what you want in Studio City? I don't care about traffic. I want as much traffic as possible. Yeah, I know that's crazy. That means we're gonna walk more. That means we're gonna take more Ubers. Should we tear down Hollywood Bowl? There's no parking. That sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? You like going to Santa Clarita? No, you don't. There's plenty of parking there. To handcuff these restaurants, all through our Ventura Boulevard, because of parking is asinine.
Timer on here?
I just said time.
That's fine. Well, you gave extra time to this gentleman. I don't know,
Sorry,
I'm in here and I don't need to have an
precisely what
argument.
I'm doing right now, giving you the answer.
You know, I appreciate that. And I'm saying, guys, let's think a little bit bigger of the restaurants. That's the lifeblood of Studio City. Why is Studio City more special than Encino?
Well, it's a totally different
Whoa,
city.
hold on, please.
I don't need the answer.
Okay,
You just think about it.
Okay,
What's the
thank you.
time? Where are we on time?
10 seconds.
So I'm just saying, and this guy's been just told me he's been to 30 meetings to get a restaurant to open. I live across the street from Sportsman's Lodge. I'm sure plenty of people here thought it. What do you say now? You want to still complain? Go ahead and complain. I can tell you, I live on
We're
Steel
time.
Time.
We're time.
Most people love it.
Thank you. Sharon?
I toured the facility. I think it would be a great addition to Studio City. It is a beautiful facility, and we don't have banquet halls where people can have a bar mitzvah or a wedding or an anniversary party. And it's gorgeous. And I think they can work out the parking and I know they're planning to try and get a crosswalk in there eventually, or some kind of way for the people crossing easier.
Any other public comment? Yes.
I live 100 feet from this building. What amplified music? What is 144331? Can somebody tell me?
There's a decibel level there.
Well, exactly. Any amplify, I can hear people talking Ventura Boulevard. This rooftop is almost level with where I live, 100 feet.
How do we govern? Was there
Okay,
good?
Tim?
But
She has the floor, Tim.
I like to sit out on my patio. Now I can't sit out there until after 10 PM because I've got to listen to somebody else's music. So my life is gonna be miserable. Because somebody built a building that couldn't be stopped, even though they tried. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment?
Are we allowed to or no? Are we
Sure, you're public.
Yes. It's not for you to give the.
I see that. I'll come
Just
back to it.
quickly. We have transformed this place right here that was a tear down into this place. And it can serve the community. After the Regency was gone, we don't have a banquet hall. In Studio City, we're serving you a banquet hall. If you have guests, we're open. If you have public area that you want to gather for your events or anything that you want to do, we're open. Just we want to serve the community the best we can. Yes, we were given the approval back then, and now the more restrictions are restricting for us. We visited 23 parking stalls. None of them were free. No valet stands are free that we've seen that's being imposed on us right now.
What we're trying to do, we're trying to create tax revenue. We're trying to bring more people in. We're trying to become this fun place that we are. There's nothing like this on Ventura Boulevard, that there's nothing like this in Studio City that you can do your bar mitzvahs and weddings or anything like that. We went, because we were grandfathered our 7 parkings to have the approval. We kind of wanted that 50 extra parking, understanding that, but we were grandfathered and we committed to a lease that we're paying $5,000 a month too. In addition to that, we're being told we have to do it free. That's gonna cost us $18,000 extra, that we're going to have to pay the valet company to come and do their service out of our expense. We're enough hardship already for 14 years. Because of Mr. Peterson and people like that, they created artificial roadblocks for us and prolonged, and just so we know, he's not living in Studio City, he's on behalf of somebody who they're combined, they have conflict of interest, they wanted to purchase the property, and they vandalized the property, and they came back and say, how much do you want to buy the dirt for? Let me put it this way, I have their offer in my email, anytime I can send it to anyone. There's a conflict of interest, we've done everything we can, and in addition to that, we were approved until 11 p.m. back in 2013, and then now it's being 10 p.m. Always limitations. We're trying to get this done, please. We want to waive that free parking. Out of 23 areas that we visited, none of them have free. Why are we being targeted? We want to do something good. If we demo, nobody says that. If you're a dispensary store, nobody says, why are you a dispensary store? We're trying to do something for the community.
Thank you.
Good.
I live less than 100 feet behind this place, and I'm concerned about the cooking on the rooftop, people smoking on the rooftop. Have we considered the concerns of this? Because we are extremely close to it. And also, just to touch on what he's talking about, of the neighbors, I have witnessed them threatening and trying to bully my neighbors. I just think that that should be brought up. Do not let him bully you here as well. It is.
Who's bullying?
Please.
People from the construction site of the restaurant banquet hall, I have witnessed them yelling and screaming and hollering horrible, horrible things to the entire neighborhood that has nothing to do with anything. And it's ridiculous, and I am tired of it. I haven't even lived there for like 3 years, and it's been nonstop. Not to mention the lights on the rooftop, when they were testing them out, were blinking and illuminating into all of our bedroom lights, or bedroom windows. And that's something else that should be considered.
Thank you. Go ahead.
May I explain the?
I have one more public comment. Can I get back to that? Go ahead.
I'm the land use consultant, Savannah Malian with Malian Associates. I've been involved since the alcohol use was submitted and I submitted the application. Our hearing is tomorrow. So there's gonna be conditions for light, for neighbors. This is not the first banquet hall or anything on Ventura that has neighbors. I have projects in Eagle Rock, same situation, neighbors in the back. So the zoning administrator is gonna take all that into consideration. There's light pollution, there's noise, ambient noise, what kind of noise? But the building is there, it has a CFO, everything, the inspectors have gone out there. Nothing is out of the ordinary, we follow the city rules. Whatever they told us, we followed. I'm here only because the alcohol and the live entertainment. So we have our hearing tomorrow, and we're gonna go from there.
I think that's the end of public comment. Lisa, do you have something you want to say before we go to board?
Yeah. My experience is if we don't write something to protect the people, because most of the people can't call in, that at least something comes from us, and then it's up to the ZA, and then wherever it goes from there, I'm not sure, because this has been a little bit different than anything I've ever seen before. So that's why I.
When you say it's been different, could you?
Because for some reason, you can explain, but it didn't go to CPC. It didn't go to the Plum Committee, and then it didn't go to City Council, even though it was a very, very, very extensive building of this property up against the hillside. So, and there was one floor down. The subterranean too, and it only really went to the CPC. So, yeah, sorry, South Valley. So South Valley, nothing ever stops there, but somehow because of the appeals, it did stop there. And then until they got it all built between the, whatever had to be done from the hillside and everything else, and then of course, it was the pandemic, so it's taken them a very long time. In my opinion, the changes in the neighborhood that nobody is really, I think something should be added to this motion. And I think it should really have a little history, just to get in, thank you, just to get in whatever we think we should get.
Okay, let's go for some board conversations on this.
I have a comment, I have a question. So is there any kind of plan, ruling, some special circumstances in code that allows this part of Ventura Boulevard to have amplified sound on a roof outside? How did that happen? I don't understand that.
When you get a liquor license, you can explain it.
The outdoor noise has to be measured and has to be controlled, and there's hours restriction. It's not unique to our building, it's everywhere in the city.
The problem is how close it is, that's all,
And this is very common, major boulevards all have residential in the rear. It's very common, but the zoning administrator, that's why the city has ordinances of noise control, hours. So there's all these things that we still have to go through with our hearing.
Just addition to that, we're gonna have smaller speakers spread out, just so it's gonna be a very slow, low volume, so it's not a boom box or anything.
It's
like
not
that.
live entertainment
No
on
live
the roof.
entertainment.
We cannot have live
Maybe violin
entertainment.
or something.
If anything, it'll be ambient music, and that has hours restrictions. But the live entertainment is only for indoors. What are the hour restrictions?
Previously
Well-
unanimously approved or recommended. that-
By the board.
Does that mean any restaurant or any restaurant or bar in that part of Ventura Boulevard can have amplified sound outside?
No,
Then why this one?
because it's not outside, it's different.
It's on a
from
rooftop.
Coming out on the boulevard, apparently, it's on the roof. We anticipated in 13, and I did find the information that I needed about what we looked into before. And we didn't think it was going to be so big where there would be so many people approved to be there. And we also thought that on the roof, the only thing that would happen would be like the wedding part of whatever was, the wedding. And then
Ceremony.
everything else would be inside. No cooking, no serving, just the wedding stuff. That's what we thought then.
And so there's going to be open fire cooking?
No, that's what we put in.
But their proposal is to have open fire, right? So
Well, for cooking is how we understood it.
so
Because I
when,
think you have a barbecue now.
Well, we had an outdoor barbecue that we were trying to taste, see what it tastes like out. If it bothers, we'll get rid of it, no questions asked. The 12 inches that we're asking to provide, a lot of the things are reasonable, no worries. Safety related, we'll provide. But when it comes to something that's going to put a roadblock and say, kill the project, and say you have to now come up with 23,000 more additional out of your pocket every month, in addition to what we're doing, the valet, we cannot make it free because we cannot pay out of our pocket.
so your only complaint is about free
Free
valet?
valet, and the hours, it was previously 11, now it was reduced to 10.
So those are the 2 points of contention.
For,
For the roof.
yes,
Only for the roof.
yes.
Also, our motion.
Well,
says
I'm sorry, hold on.
it should be
Wait.
fees.
Hold on, Lisa, wait. I thought I understood that you don't want to have free valet. And what was the other point that you had?
And the hours were limited.
And the hours. So your concern is that this motion asks for you to have free valet, and the intent of the free valet is to not encourage people to avoid the valet charge and encourage them to park in the neighborhood. Is that right?
Yes, but we specifically wrote that it should be part of the banquet fees.
Yeah, no, I
So
get
they
that.
pass it on.
No, okay, so they can pass it on, they
Well,
get that.
not only the neighborhood, but there's all those other restaurants.
Right.
There's no parking there.
Okay. So it's, you don't want to have free valet and you don't want the hours rolled back from 11 to 10?
Correct.
Have there been, was the roof operational prior to now? So we don't know how much of a problem the roof is going to be at this point.
Well, you can anticipate.
Right, but we haven't actually seen it. I get it.
Businesses get to have music outside on the roof? or
No,
music outside on their patio?
All of the restaurants, from what I understand from the jalapeno pizza thing we did, there's a municipal code. It's like 65 decibels, 30 inches outside of the window. It's really, the code is de minimis sound. The reality is louder.
Yeah.
What also happens is, think about you're in a restaurant, there's music, who's really listening to? I mean, what they call the ambient music, and everybody just talks loud. So, and then in Ventura Boulevard, the sound goes up, but it also shoots on the other side, believe it or not, because the river is an amplifier also. And we have this problem everywhere on Ventura Boulevard. But like I said, the roof thing, we anticipated to just be the ceremonies and those kinds of things, and then they would be going inside.
Without music, but you'd still hear the ceremony.
You know, it could have been a violin or something quiet, but.
That's what we're doing, that's what we're doing.
Okay, but you're talking about putting in.
There's no dancing, there's no live
No,
entertainment.
we don't, please.
Okay, so,
We want this business to.
right. Could I just run through this? So the valet charges are a point of contention. The amplified music, everyone agrees that the municipal code will be followed, and you shouldn't be able to hear it on the street per the municipal code?
Well, the other part of the problem is that, I don't know if anybody from the city ever came out to see, that there is no alley there. So the houses are closer than the alley that's in the back.
So you think that the municipal, but you say that you want the municipal code to be enforced, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, and then,
Try to get them to do it.
and so you're saying you want employee parking to only be in those 7 spaces down below
No, anywhere where they are not.
at the valet lot? Okay,
Let's consider that as an overflow if possible. If you can't fit the parking, we already have a parking place. If you can't fit those, let's keep it over there. If need to overflow, then we'll overflow over there.
Look,
What do you mean?
let me interrupt
You already have
for
7
a second.
spots? Is that what
We
you're?
can't
Dimitri.
fit 20.
Dimitri,
The
this
way
is,
we have,
this
we
is
can't
about,
fit 20.
this is about practice and theory. And in theory, this building was approved in 13 under an enterprise zone, and they got a tremendous amount of rope to build this. That's not, they wouldn't be able to duplicate this today.
The enterprise zone is no longer.
They have 7 spaces in a subterranean. On a great day, sunny day, they may stack them and get 15, benefit of the doubt, 20. It's approved for 300 guests. And with, let me finish, please. With the patio and the way it's all seated, this could hold up to 700 people. Okay, so in
50 parking.
they have 50 parking spaces off-site, totally allowable through a covenant. Haven't seen the covenant, just a draft probably. Those 50 parking spaces are across the street, down the street, creating a valet situation. This is on the south side of the street.
Yeah.
Marshall's is on the north. There has to be quite a bit of logistics going on there to, deal with AKA 50 spaces. That's a big concern. This is a banquet facility. We continually hear about restaurants and comparisons. It's a banquet facility. I think we all go to banquets to generally have a good time, music, perhaps alcohol, etc. I don't think they're hosting funerals and things at this facility, but it's going to tend to be busy. It's going to tend to be noisy in a very trafficked. This curve is very delicate, and the whole reason about creating and imposing the valet parking, no charge, is to not impact the community, hence the neighborhood. It's a facility charge, I'm not in their business. Perhaps it gets passed on or not. They make other choices of how to pull off their budgets and what they can offer and not offer and what that menu looks like for people that want to host parties there. But I know typically if I'm going to an event, I would not expect to be paying a valet charge. If this quote unquote truly is a banquet facility, which is what they are modeling themselves as. But the real concern here and where the catch-up might be from 2013 is figuring out how to protect the community with the parking. This is a similar curve to the curve that we had east of Coldwater by Pins and Jerry's, what used to be Jerry's Deli, where there was a death there. There have been 5 deaths here and numerous accidents. After the death near the bowling alley, there was a light put in there at Fairway. That immensely slowed down the traffic between Coldwater and Whitsett, for everyone that's probably familiar. That really changed, the amount of speed that you could pick up taking off from Coldwater. We don't have that ability here so far. I think that a lighted crosswalk would be great, but we don't know how. There's been no discussion about how the valet people are going to get to Marshall's and be going back and forth. We foresee a stacking in front of the facility while they're waiting for cars. They do have a very nice holding facility within the building envelope for people to wait while they're waiting for the valets to come and bring the car up. And they have some technology to, like some of us have seen, about getting the cars brought up so they can expedite it. But at the end of the day, there's a tremendous amount of people going to visit this facility, and it's really a catch-up about parking and how do we deal with it. The parking spaces, the 50 parking spaces, it's a 2-year lease. We don't know what's going to happen after 2 years. We really don't. Perhaps it's going to be renewed, it's going to evaporate. We don't know. There will be a covenant. They violate the covenant, and it could violate the operation. It could possibly impact the operation. But it's really about a catch-up for what was and what couldn't be duplicated today. So we're trying to take a really hard look at practice and theory here in what's really going to happen in our general view. I think they're stand up. It's a beautiful facility. They have every intention of, bringing good times to the community and those that want to use it. Patio's a little concerning, but we're going to hope, the idea of having many, many speakers is to keep the volume down and not one at the end to be able to carry and broadcast clear across the deck.
I'm gonna take all the, measures possible to make sure we're welcoming a place, not a nuisance.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to parking, like I said, like you mentioned, we were in enterprise zone. We didn't have to even provide this parking. And we even went back to the planning at the time, but we don't want to get to it. We want to just tell you.
I understand.
that we're doing the rest.
With regard to cooking on the roof, by the way, when we toured it, 4 of us that toured it, there was like a rotisserie, a very larger commercial rotisserie piece of equipment. That was a concern, which is why one of the conditions was opposing any cooking because of smoke traveling in and about into the community.
And actually, I don't know what the ordinance is, unfortunately. We just have to look it up on the computer. But there is a light ordinance, flashing lights and things like that that go out of the property are not allowed to be used either. So, it's not like it's on a patio on the ground by the street, it's on the roof. So it could affect a lot of places.
Heather?
I just have a question for Savannah. So in the original entitlements, it specifically said in parking, I believe, that no covenant and agreement would be required. So you wouldn't have to actually have one in place. You only had to get planning approval. would mean that if you had a parking agreement for 2 years, and it was, and it's basically a condition of your certificate of occupancy, that document could be shown to the planning department, and they could confirm with the Department of Building and Safety that you'd be able to get your certificate of occupancy in 2 years. If you do not have the document in place, then does that mean that your certificate of occupancy will be pulled?
Yes, so let's not mix up, the 2013 was for this specific plan, and it was just banquet halls. There was no request for alcohol. So they're not as strict when there is no alcohol. The minute you apply for alcohol, and especially live entertainment, this parking triggers. And if you do not renew your, it's gonna be written in our conditions. I'm 100% sure that's a very strict condition. And if you violate that, you're basically violating the conditions.
So it'll be.
So it can be
a
revoked.
covenant agreement doesn't be-
It will be. Again, they're two separate entitlements. We keep going back, and I understand because everyone wants to understand the history and it's very important. But they're only gonna look at alcohol and live entertainment tomorrow. Because the building is built, inspectors went out, we have a CFO. There is no question about the building. However, I think the history is important. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
And I was wondering, what is the width of the so-called or alley or no alley? Fake alley, the phony alley.
Paper.
Paper alley, how wide?
How big is it, how big are they supposed to be, big are they supposed to be, Richard?
The total be what? 20
Two
feet.
cars.
They're about 20 feet, and then we have another 20 feet separating the mechanical area, where we have, so it's kind of like 40 feet, and then we're embedded, we're like 15 feet lower than the
Why is it
size.
a phony alley?
There's no, part of it is because in 1969, a whole lot of the hillside fell down to Studio City. So there used to be an alley, basically from where Trader Joe's is, all the way to Vineland.
Oh.
And a lot of it is dirt, but a lot of it still is there, but it's on the Zenus map as an alley.
But if people don't drive on.
You can't.
Yes.
And not only that, but people have brought it into their.
But it has the width of a
Correct.
residential alley.
Not really,
Okay.
because the hillside is falling down more.
There's a clear span there.
For instance, at Blue Canyon, there's no,
But there's a
there's.
distance of 20 feet in which nothing is built and creates.
There's a buffer, call it a buffer.
Is it a full 20 feet?
Fire engine could
Pretty,
The thing is that people have built one guy on Blue Canyon that's up from Jalapeno Peaks. He built a garage in there. He's done anything about it.
Yeah, but that's not happening here, though, right?
Well, I don't
Yeah,
think
but
so
just in
either.
this particular property.
And there are homeless people that are there all the time, and a lot of complaints.
It's a legal alley for fire access, and they've never spent the money to finish the alley.
Well, I would like to say that the building is well, it's well appointed. I think that it's a great asset to the community. And I appreciate your saying all of those things about these different items that Lisa brought up, that you're willing to participate and be a good neighbor. And I think that that's a great concession on your part. And hopefully we can figure out the valet issue tonight for you. You know, the fact that the city had something built with parking across the street on a very dangerous location is the city of Los Angeles' fault. It's not our fault. I don't know that we can prevent deaths on Ventura Boulevard. We can do our best, but really it's the city of Los Angeles who made those decisions, and it's on them that they granted such a thing. So I don't believe it's
actually part of the state,
Yeah.
you know.
It's not, I don't believe that that's their fault at this point. The city granted that. They allowed a zone change from residential to commercial, and they allowed that.
But one of the things that we've been talking about is this whole neighborhood is problematic. It's changing dramatically, and we don't have a plan for it. If you go east from Colfax, all the way around, there's Blossom, there, all of those restaurants where the Jalapeno Pizza was, Colfax and Ventura, where now there's Jinkies. Before that was Killer Shrimp. That's gonna now be the elder care, the Arch Drive residences are gonna be put up. There's, and the new Sprouts. There's a ton more activity there, and we're not set up for it. So one of the things that Dean and Lisa and I were talking about is we need to figure out what we're gonna do for pedestrian safety. Because I almost killed a valet the other day. These guys are running back and forth across the street,
Yes, they are.
and they're wearing black satin jackets at night.
Every night I hear the screeching.
Right, so we need to
And I
figure,
want to kill them for what they do.
He wants to intentionally kill them, you have accidentally.
right, I'm trying not to. But so we do need to get ahead of this, and this covenant of 50 spaces or 35 spaces it's not workable. I mean, I'm not gonna wanna park under Marshall's to go to Charlotte's wedding. It's not gonna be something I wanna do. All right, and I'm not gonna wanna get in the bus, and it's just, it's unworkable for all of these businesses. So we need to get together with Nithya and her staff and find out what can be done to break that up. I mean, there needs to be a light, there need to be smart crosswalks. How fast can we get any of that before more people are dead? And I understand the city fucked it up, but I don't want to sit there and have that blood in my hands and say it's the city's fault. So we need to figure it out.
If I may, we have applied several times to DOT, I've changed emails, we've been trying very hard to get that crosswalk. They're telling us that it's in works, they're trying to get the budget together so they can put that crosswalk.
We'd love to see that correspondence and take it from there,
Let me
but
just mention to him that I want you to come to the Ventura Going Boulevard Corridor Specific Plan Review Board and ask for it. I will tell you what to do.
yeah.
Please.
It took me 15 years to get the sidewalk done.
Well, there's mutual interest. I mean, there's interest for our community, there's interest for your
Right.
business. So it seems like we can all be on the same page.
100%, yes.
So are we prepared to make a vote on
I
this?
have one concern, which is about the cost issue with the valet. This number one, valet charges must be part of the banquet fees. How does that sit with you?
Well, I cannot tell people to want to pay, so if we're not willing to pay, we're gonna be paying. We're not ready to, in this tough part economy, and in this already built-in expenses that we have, the hardship we're already in, we're on a thin margin of trying to make ends meet. Having something like this is a deal breaker for us to kind of like project kill it. It's going to kill us. I mean, if we had known this back in 2013, we would have built the dispensary without any parking, so everybody could have gotten as high as they want, without any questions asked. But we've been trying, we've been trying to do something, that kids don't see it as, are we promoting dispensaries now?
No, but could we please stay focused on the parking?
So we're
As-
trying to
All
provide
right.
something good for the community.
Right, but so what we have a concern about is in driving people, getting people into your successful business, we're gonna end up killing them on the street or having to deal with their parking. So that's a problem we're stuck
Or
facing.
putting the other businesses out of business because of.
Well, I mean, and
Also, if you put a sign out, for instance, I'll just say the jalapeno Pete's, you already went through that. If they ever put their sign out, it's $20 to park. That's how much it costs to park downtown. Because of course, they don't have a parking lot that you can get into after 7 PM. They never put that sign out there, but it's in the back of their building. So that's a
Go
big
ahead.
issue.
I just have a question, I'm sorry. So, you're a banquet hall, not a restaurant. Obviously, I don't really know what's going on. You're a banquet. Are you, my understanding of a banquet hall is you're buying a package. So I'm throwing an event at your hall, and that's a package deal that's going to include food, entertainment, and everything. So wouldn't that include parking?
What if you don't wanna pay in the package? Who ends up, somebody needs to pay, correct?
Then we'll just like.
We have a thin margin and we're a new business, we're trying to get up on our feet and get going. And we have we have to come up with prices that's affordable. Somebody's trying to do a bar mitzvah, they're on a tight budget. Somebody's trying to do a public corporate event, they're on a tight budget. We need to work with these people, we cannot be out of their pocket. We have hired a professional. Curb Stand is a professional, reputable valet company that's been around for many years. And they have trained staff. We cannot do their job, and we cannot pay out of our pocket for the parking fee.
No, but why can't you charge, sorry to interrupt, why can't you charge her Why can't you charge her for the parking fee?
Parking, let me just say something. Parking is as important in this town, and people are paying for it and understand it, and we've seen $3 valet parking go to 20, and there are people paying it. Notwithstanding that, though, the parking is as important as the band in some cases. So it's the package. That's what we're talking about.
We have the inside parking, we have the on-site parking.
Not sufficient. It's not sufficient.
And we're encouraging people to take Uber, and the metro is only about 700-800 feet away from us.
They're not going in their tuxedos on the metro, okay? They're not taking the metro.
I mean, I think that,
This isn't about going out of business. This isn't,
Telling a restaurant how to park.
because there's overflow.
guys, wait, one conversation at a time. Hold on. Kim,
An important point is if that facility had the parking, that would be included in your cost per, I don't know all that happens with the business, but that would be included in your cost of your rent of the place or your square foot price or whatever. So you would be paying for that. The big concern here is, yes, I don't understand all this planning that's going on along Ventura, and yet there are no parking spaces. We keep having this discussion and this argument. I am against, I can't even believe there isn't even the parking for the employees, and then it's down the block, and the parking is a huge issue. I mean, I'm opposed in general because of that. I don't even understand with your, unless these things are met, I'm not in favor of with all of that. I think this is insanity, what we're trying to stuff into a small section of Ventura, which is constantly all of us are on our brakes, not just for the valets, but cars making use and cars double parking for their valet. And it is a nightmare to drive that section. I'm happy the businesses are doing well, but it's a nightmare.
Well, that's
And
why-
for the people who live around there.
And that's
Sorry.
why, even
Can't we
if
just
we
say we
don't
oppose
think it will be taken up by this VA, it still has to go someplace else. And so that's why we made all these conditions before and why we're doing it now. And.
It sort of sounds like we are in support though, and
Well, the building is.
if these things are met, so we
This is
don't.
the way that I was talking, right, Lisa. Say you
Okay.
oppose it unless you can do this. And we've been very successful. We have a lot of rules now that come from the state that we can't do anything about. And what happened in 13 would not be allowed.
Yeah, I don't think this is enough parking, period.
I don't
So-
think even 50 spaces for
No.
300 people, I mean,
And the employees.
The one thing that supersedes the requirements of the specific plans for parking, which is lots more parking than any place else,
but
was the enterprise. Because
But-
it's from the state.
one of the things we talked about is if you took all the businesses in this zone we're talking about and had a reasonable day of business, there's not enough parking spaces to take care of all of them. I mean, we're already in a problem, so we need to get to the city. And Dean and I were talking and I said, okay, there's property. Dean said, yeah, there's property, but you gotta go vertical. And so
That's
so
not
there's an
allowed on
issue.
Ventura Boulevard.
And
Unless
it,
looks like a building, you can't just put a parking lot up.
Well, and
Also,
well, hold on, Lisa. And we talked about 700 people. The Troubadour holds 500. Just to let you know how big 700 will be. But, it's happening tomorrow. Do we trust that the diligence has been done by the committee? And we're prepared to take a vote on it?
Yeah.
Does that work for everybody? Is there any other burning question?
First question.
Okay.
Yeah. How much, what has changed since 13? At that time, the owner, controller, and associate, a lot of the property adjacent to it. What's the situation right now?
Say that again.
he wants to know what property you own around it.
All of them. All of them, 8 of them.
Okay, stop.
All of them, right?
Right. They were originally going to be.
So that has not changed.
They're residential. Low cost.
So in other words,
And they're not
They're on the hillside, right, on the top.
Yeah, but it's not an apartment that's got 20 units, like, for example, the one lot that's a different unit has two bedroom or two bedroom.
I just wondered if you're gonna be in front of us, you know, in a few months or a year, asking the same date that they're asking.
No.
So we're saying.
No idea.
We don't have to put any on there, sure. Just where the parking lot is, where the apartments above.
I think we're getting far afield. Richard, we're getting kind of far afield. On this particular project, let's get back, okay, let's get back to this project, please, and let's have a vote on this project. Terrence, can we make a vote, sir?
But why don't you read the motion? Are you reading the motion again?
I will read the motion again. You want me to?
Sure.
Regarding Studio City Neighborhood Council opposes the application ZA 2023-4786 CUB CUX for Blossom Banquet Hall, 11150 West Ventura Boulevard, Studio City, unless the following conditions are included in the determination of the planning department. 1, valet charges must be part of the banquet fees. 2, amplified music on the roof shall not exceed LAMC ORG 144331 levels. 3, employee parking shall be at the valet lot. 4, install a 4-inch plexiglass barrier along the roof edge on the north side. 5, 12-inch.
Yeah, you said 4.
What?
Number 4, install
Number
it.
4 is install a 12-inch plexiglass barrier along the roof edge on the north side. Number 5, roof to close no later than 5 p.m. 7 days a
10
week.
p.m.
No, 10 p.m.
Am I not speaking right? Oh my
No, you're not.
You're not.
There's no pot in here. Oh my God. Roof to close no later than 10 p.m. 7 days a week. I'm here to spot. 6, liquor license to be renewed every 5 years. 7, 50 additional parking spaces must be in operation during all business hours. 8, no cooking in the public area of the rooftop deck. The motions passed by the board in 2013 for the original application DIR 2013-1688 SPPA should be considered with the current application. Both motion letters are attached, letter 1 and letter 2.
Why do we need to consider letters 1 and 2?
Because that's a history of all of the other conditions that we
Okay.
had asked for before.
And do we have the right to ask that the gross revenue is no more than 50% alcohol?
That's gonna,
That's
That-
California.
it's California,
Okay.
it's not a bar.
Okay. Terrence?
Or not?
Yes.
Or no? Comments?
Yes.
Cutler?
Yes.
Gassion?
Yes.
Robin?
No.
Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
No.
Meehan?
Yes.
Niederberg?
Yes,
Rittenberg?
Yes.
Shaw?
No.
Ten yeses. Four noes. Passes.
Jeff, you,
With your permission, since we didn't change the motion, I'll just read it, so Jeff doesn't have to stay up all night and send to me. And I will tell her that it will be coming to her.
oh, you read it tomorrow? Yes.
Read it, you already
Yes.
appointed me to.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I'll just read it. And then Jeff, she'll give me a date yet to have it verified.
Okay.
And you saw all those email, Audrey kept giving us the wrong email address? Okay. Jeff, you are up, and Barry has tabled item 15, and will be leading us out.
I will be very quick. I will speed read.
Thank you, everyone.
Motion A, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 23-1277, title, Critical Infrastructure Inventory, Safe Barriers, Encampment Fires, Freeways, High Fire Severity Zones, Environmentally Sensitive Areas. On November 11, 2023, a massive fire destroyed 8 acres of storage facilities and heavily damaged a portion of the 10 freeway in Los Angeles. This caused long-term traffic and economic impacts for the entire region. This fire also exposed the vulnerability of our transportation infrastructure to arson and other fires. Numerous homeless encampments in our local area are located under and along freeways. The inhabitants of these illegal encampments often use open flames and gas tanks near brush and other combustible materials. This presents a danger to the safety and security of all Angelenos. This motion seeks to, 1, instruct various city departments to prepare an inventory of the city's critical infrastructure, including freeways and underpasses. 2, have the fire department report the number of homeless encampment fires that have occurred along freeways, overpasses, and embankments in 2023. And 3, request the city attorney prepare amendments to laws to protect our critical infrastructure. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement, CIS, to Council File 23-1277. So in a nutshell, you'll recall the big fire they had that shut down the 10 freeway, and Caltrans got it up very quickly, I think within 2 weeks. And what this does is it wants a report back so the city can do an inventory of any kind of vulnerable areas along our freeways and overpasses. Also report on homeless fires. My understanding is half of all LA Fire Department calls are homeless related. And we have a lot of fires along, the infrastructure on the freeways. So we want to report back on the number of fires that are associated with that. And also have the city attorney prepare any kind of amendments or laws which would seek to protect our critical infrastructure. So that's it in a nutshell. Any questions?
All good.
No public comment? Board comment? Go for a vote.
Step down. Yeah.
Yes, Gilman?
Yes.
She's here, Clements?
I didn't hear any, I don't.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Cassiones?
I said yes.
Okay, Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Lewis?
Yes.
Meehan?
Yes.
Niedenberg?
Yeah.
Rittenberg?
Yes.
Shaw?
Yes.
Yes.
12-0-0.
All right, motion B, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 23-1284, title, Fire Risk and Prevention, High Risk Areas, Arson Prevention, as exemplified by the recent major fire that shut down the 10 freeway near downtown LA. The city's critical infrastructure is vulnerable to fires. The city needs to diagnose risk areas to prevent fire damage in the future. This motion directs the Emergency Management Department and the Fire Department to assess all areas in the city with fire risk and prevention to critical infrastructure. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement to Council File 23-1284. So basically, we are asking the Emergency Management Department and the Fire Department to conduct an assessment of fire risk to all critical infrastructure. This motion has actually already passed the City Council, as has the previous one, but we still need to do our input because I think only one other neighborhood council has opined on these matters. So Barry's always suggested, even though a motion has been passed by the City Council, it's good to have our community input in case something happens later on where they're going to revise it or something like that or revisit the issue. So that is motion B in a nutshell.
Public comment? Board comment?
Vote.
Horton?
Yes.
Burger?
Yes.
Clements?
Yes.
Cutler?
Yes.
Cassiones?
Yes.
Hardwick?
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Huber,
Yeah.
Bridger,
Yes.
Shaw.
Yeah.
13-0-0, the motion passes.
The last motion C, the Board of the Studio City Neighborhood Council, SCNC, supports Council File 23-0407, title, Public Phone Charging Stations, Cyber Theft, Juice Jacking, Malware, Consumer Phone Protection. Juice jacking is a form of cyber theft where criminals steal personal data from public phone charging stations using malware. Criminals use the information to access online bank accounts or sell it to bad actors. To help combat this problem, in the city of Los Angeles, this motion requests the Information Technology Agency to report back on these potential threats and to suggest what protections can be implemented. This report would also apply to charging stations at the Los Angeles World Airports. This motion is also to be submitted as a community impact statement. CIS to Council File 23-0407. So I've always wondered at these, you go to an airport and you see the phone station and you wonder, is that really safe? Because you hear rumors and whatnot. So I know there's been cyber thefts, people utilizing these public resources. So this would direct, mainly would apply to LA World Airports to take a look and have our IT department determine whether or not there are potential threats and see if they can figure out any things to protect against. So that's it in a nutshell. This is also already passed the city council, so we're late to the game, but we're gonna provide our input.
Public comment? Board comment? It was fun watching Jeff talk about juice jacking.
Yeah,
no,
I thought it was like a wage or something.
Well, exactly. He thought it gave him street cred, it did not.
Let's wait to cover this one, huh?
Terrence, I think we're ready for a vote, sir.
Porter,
Yes.
Burger. Yes. Clement.
Yes.
Cutler.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Hardwick,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Lee, Lewis.
Yes.
Ian,
Yes.
Huber, Bridger,
Yes.
Shaw.
Yes.
13-0-0, the motion passes.
Okay, Barry's going to hold off on this transportation committee update. There's some good stuff that came out of the transportation meeting we had last week. I thought Charlotte, Dimitri, and Kevin all had some really good ideas, and he'll come back with those later. Barry will. And unfortunately, it was something of the ghost of Scott Mandel with a very late post 10:30 meeting. I will curse him for it, but I think we're adjourned. Thank you so much.